What's up? What's going on?
Hi, good afternoon.
You said sassy boys and baby mamas hate Trump. So why do you hate Trump?
Is that what you got from that?
I don't. I'm just curious as to why you hate Trump. I feel like that's a very legitimate question.
No. I've been a fan of his economic policy, but I don't like him as a person.
His economic policy. What economic policy would that be?
I was very much a fan of the TCJA in his first term.
That he said was a failed deal that he needs to redo? Trump's words.
It wasn't a failed deal. It could have been implemented better, but not every law is 100% the first go around. It's that's a very high bar to set for any politician. No.
Right, but is he not going around saying the trade deals are unfair and messed up and et cetera, et cetera, and the one that he's trying to overturn is that deal?
Well, again, I don't know if you ever work in the business world, but there's a concept of continuous improvement,
Really quick, what
and
was
that
it?
seems to be
You're
something
talking
along
about
those lines.
the Canadian and Mexico trade deal, right?
No, no, not
Which
at
one are you
all.
talking about? Are you talking about? Sorry, I wanted to double check that because I didn't hear
No,
it. I assume
I
that's
was
what you were
very much
talking
a
about.
fan when he lowered the corporate tax during his
Oh,
initial policy, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. It had nothing to do with other countries. It was just a matter of lowering the corporate taxes, which was, had a very positive impact on
where
myself, my earning potential, and in turn my family.
it had a positive impact on you?
Yes, yes.
Do you what your company would have to be pretty large?
No. I work for a medium-sized trading firm. We all benefited. We all
You
benefited.
work for wouldn't that be capital gains?
No, no. Well, we're a software, financial software company. Essentially, we sell a couple of applications that are used on the market, and when that policy was implemented, we were able to grow our business. New business division, business unit. New application that we rolled out that we wouldn't have the capital to invest in and hire more developers, more product managers, and more business development folks to get that going. So it was had a very positive impact.
One second. One second. You said you're a medium-sized firm.
Yeah, in Lower Manhattan, we would be considered a medium-sized firm. Yes.
Reduction. Reduction. What was the reduction from?
Well, when it was in was it 32% down to 19, it was upwards of a 10% increase in the amount of revenue that we were able to keep once that tax cut was fully implemented in its first year.
I
So it
mean,
had
it
a
depends
significant
because
impact.
most corporations are not paying 35% tax. That's what's interesting about it. So we have what's called the effective and the official tax rate, right?
Yes, and please elaborate on that. Can you dive into that?
Yes, you have what's the effective, which is what you actually get after deductions and write offs, and the list goes on, and loopholes. And then you have the
Okay.
official. So for most corporations, the official tax rate was not 35%. I just want to point that out.
No, I didn't say 35%. I said 32.
Well,
In,
whatever
in
it
New York,
was.
in New York, yeah, it was 32. That's
Right. Most of them
axiomatically.
already are taking out deductions that lower it, which is why they went down with it. This guy's lying out his ass. I'm pretty sure, yeah. I mean, there's no
Yeah,
way for me to
so if
argue with it. Like, I don't know what
yeah,
company it is. I don't know what tax breaks they receive, but I will tell you that pretty much most of the money that went into the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act went into buying back stock.
for some larger corporations, yes, but there were many organizations that were able to increase their business lines,
Well, I
and
can't speak
fortunately,
on
I was one of
your.
those companies.
You were one of those companies. I can't speak on what company you are or not, or whether or not this is true.
Okay, well, if you Google, you could see many companies did that. It wasn't just solely a stock buyback. That was a popular talking point, but
Wasn't no. I think it was something like 80%. It was a lot. It was high. Most of it went to stock buyback.
mm, again, so then that's 20% of businesses were able to use that, for I guess more of a beneficial purpose
Yeah, it
to
was
help, job
80%.
growth. Yeah, yeah. So for 20% of all the companies in the United States, they were able to leverage that additional revenue to actually grow their business. So
So
for
then why not
20% of
just give a
companies, that
tax
was a
break?
good thing.
So why not just? I mean, is a good thing to those companies? Is a good thing for the economy overall that he's allowing these billionaires just to buy back and reinflate their stock? No,
Well, what is it? What's the expression? Life
no.
is
I mean,
tough
that's
where it
not a
comes.
that's not a
It's
good.
about personal responsibility, right? Everyone, brings value to the
What?
market, and if people are skilled, then they have the opportunity to generate wealth off that. It's not an
I don't
it's
know.
not
I
a
don't know what you're getting at here. My point is that 80% of it
right.
did not go to that. You're saying this is a good bill. Would you say
For
that
the
a
tw-
good bill, but really quick, I doubt very much that Republicans would say that a bill that has 80% waste in it is a good bill, is good
yeah,
economic
but for
policy.
the
I
for the
would
tw-
doubt
yeah,
that.
but
I
for the
would doubt
20
that
for the
very
twenty
much.
percent, for the twenty
Right, but
percent
that's not
that
my
leveraged
argument.
it, that was good. That was
That's
a
not
good
my
thing.
argument, though. That's not my
Okay.
argument. My argument is that if I were to tell a Republican this bill has 80% waste in it, and you wouldn't defend it.
Well, what is the waste? Is the waste that they were doing buybacks? Is that
That would say
waste?
that was waste. Yeah, I would say that was waste. Yeah, it just helped
Well,
billionaires and
can you
rich
can you
people.
elaborate on that? Why would that be wasteful?
It's wasteful because they're buying back stock to reinflate their own prices. They used to be illegal in the 80s until Reagan. It used to be illegal to do for
Okay,
good
so
reason
Yeah,
because
Reagan was a
you can just
Republican.
continue to invest your own money to inflate your stocks.
Okay, but then again, there's those billionaires employ
I
a
don't
nice amount of
care.
people. So
They didn't employ
for those
people with it.
employees,
That
that's a good thing then, right?
they didn't employ people with it.
But these billionaires, they own corporations that employ U.S. citizens, right?
But
So
with
those
this
those
legislation, they
citizens
did
who
not
are working
employ
for those
people.
companies, they have a stable income.
It
Because it's
did
not like
not
billionaires just have
hire.
money and they don't have any stake in corporations. They those corporations do hire, many people. They employ many people. So for those employees,
It's
they
not
kind of
affecting
just
the
have
employees.
a stable
It's
salary.
it's it. That's a false correlation. It doesn't affect employees.
Well, if an employee has a steady income, that's something that's
But that
positive, right?
the buybacks and the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act has nothing to do with employees. Nor does my
Agreed,
argument.
but
My
but these
argument
but these
has to do with the
billionaires
fact that
employ citizens.
you're saying that 20% went to R&D and capital expenditure, while the rest went to buyback. So 80%
Okay, but
buybacks,
for those
dividends, and that type of stuff.
but that
That doesn't have to
provides
do with
job
hiring
stability.
people. How does what?
That provides the if the company buys back those stocks and they continue to operate, then whatever those thousands of
Listen,
employees
man, it's
don't
okay to
have to
say
worry
this is
about
not.
any sort of fluctuations,
It's
and then they
totally
can have
okay to
steady
say
income.
it's totally okay to say this is not adding up versus like gaslighting your reality to make this
Well,
make
you
sense.
you're just like billionaires bad, and I get it. This jealousy is a real thing. Like billionaires bad,
I'm
I get it.
literally I don't have any
But
jealousy. I have anger that they have hoarded all the wealth and are fucking over America. My point
um,
is, and my point has been, it has nothing to do with the employees. It has everything to do with the fact that this money did not go to secure employee employment. So I don't know why you're bringing it up.
but it's about stability, and for the
I don't know
20%,
what you're
it
talking
did
about
it did provide
stability. It
additional
doesn't have to
jobs.
do of inflating someone's thing does not have to do with stability. It would be like you saying, well, BlackRock can buy up all these homes and they can monopolize the market because it's stability. You could say it with
No, but for
literally
all those
everything. You could
thousands
say
of
it's the
people
same
that
exact thing.
BlackRock
You could say it the
employs,
little you could say it the little of everything.
for all those people that BlackRock employs, then they're not worried about providing for their families and earning a good salary, right? Like for those people,
No, but
it's a good
everybody
thing.
else. So now you're saying that like monopolizing homes is a good thing? This is fucking
No, no,
nutso,
no.
man. You might need to
It's
be,
just
I'm going to be
business.
real. You need to be
It's free
studied and
market.
sedated.
It's free market. It's free
We don't
market.
have free market. If we had free market, there wouldn't have been 80% of this money going so they could buy back stock. They wouldn't have gotten any breaks if it was a free fucking market. I don't know why you keep saying free market. You're over here defending BlackRock and fucking private equity buying up homes to monopolize the fucking market. That's fucking batshit. No, it
No,
doesn't
they
shore
just
up.
saw an
No. It doesn't.
opportunity
Stop. It doesn't.
they
Absolutely
exploited an
doesn't shore up.
opportunity. That's
I
all.
know
They exploited an
exploitation. That's kind
opportunity.
of the point. Exploitation. And you're sitting here defending it.
Yeah, but it's all about personal choice and responsibility. If people
Personal
were doing
choice
the
and
right thing, BlackRock
responsibility.
wouldn't have
Who
come
has the
through.
personal choice? Who has the personal choice to buy a house from BlackRock? Who has a personal ability to outbid them?
People who make sound financial decisions do.
People who make sound financial decisions. You're saying most of America doesn't own homes, so most of America doesn't make sound financial decisions, or might it be a little bit
Yes,
more?
financial illiteracy is an epidemic in this
Cool.
country.
We have 50
Absolutely.
million people in America that make less than $15 an hour. Tell me how they buy a house.
Well, again, that's poor personal choices. It's
It's
about,
not poor
you
personal
make money
choices when you
based
have
off the
50
value that you
million
bring to the
people.
market.
That's called institutional. That's an
No,
institutional problem. You're
no,
telling
that's
me
not
that this
true.
is just bad financial decisions. So how does someone that makes less than less than $15 an hour, how do they buy a house? You make it sound so easy. Explain this to us.
No, they need to upskill themselves and
I
to
don't know what
provide
that
a
means. I'm
greater
telling you
service or
$15 an
good to
hour.
the greater
I'm
market.
telling you there's 50 million people that make less than $15 an hour. How do they all buy a home?
Well, well, they don't, but that's on them. That's poor choices.
How? You just
If
told
they're
you told me
making
it's poor choices.
$15 an hour
What choices
in
could they make? There's 50
in
million
20
people.
in 2025, you're saying that there's no upward economic mobility for the citizens of the United States. If
There is
someone makes
not as
$15 an
there
hour, that's like a
there
death
is
sentence to them.
there are 50 million people that make less than $15 an hour. That indicates institutional problem in America, okay? That's a fourth of the workforce. Fourth, fifth of the workforce.
It's a failure in the
So
education system.
a failure in what
These,
education
these,
system?
these
What does
people
education have
are
to do?
very low
I'm so sorry.
skilled,
What
low
are
IQ.
50 well, listen, what are 50 million people? You told me this was an easy problem for you to fix. 50
Yes,
million people need a
absolutely.
home. You're saying 50 million people make poor economic decisions. What decisions could 50 million people collectively make to buy a home?
Well, there is many steps that you take prior to just buying a home. It's not
You're
that you flip a
yapping.
switch and then you want
You're
to purchase a
yapping.
home, right?
You're yapping.
No,
You
no,
made it
no,
sound
no.
so
You just
easy.
don't like
Don't
what I'm
backtrack
saying.
and
You just
qualify
don't like what
now.
I'm
Tell
saying.
me what 50 million people are supposed to do collectively. What decisions are they supposed to make to buy a house?
Sure, they need to start learning a skill to generate more income.
There's 50
Once
million
you have
people. What
income
skills? What
and you
50
have savings,
what
then you can
skills?
purchase a home.
What skills?
Sure. Learn a trade. No, not everyone has to be a software engineer, right?
Okay,
Learn
there's
a
50
trade.
million people. Everybody's going to learn a trade. Okay, now you're going to have 50 million auto mechanics, 50 million I don't know, framers, plumbers,
No,
whatever.
you
Great.
don't know.
That's
You
great.
don't know. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of trades out there that you don't know
What
about.
trade? I know what trades
But
there are,
those
but you have
trades,
50
there's
million
plenty of jobs
people.
out there that
You
give
have
people
50
the
million
opportunity
people. I
to
don't know what you're
generate
not
income.
understanding here. You have 50 million people that make less than $15 an hour. You're saying to go into the trades. We don't need that many people in the trade. We don't need 50 million people.
Who
Period.
says that? You say that? You say that
Are
they don't
you
need more
saying we need
tradesmen?
50? What do you mean we need 50 million? What the fuck?
No, no,
You
you're
work.
you're
Oh,
saying that.
I'm so
Can you
serious.
back that? Can you back
Hold
that
on a second.
claim?
I'm so
Can
fucking
you back that
serious.
claim?
You sat in here and are you fucking serious? You sat in here and you called people that make less money low IQ, and I'm sitting here listening to you,
Agreed.
who works at a firm in
Agreed.
Lower Manhattan, and you're fucking stupid.
No. You just don't
No,
like what
you're
I'm
not.
saying.
No. Listen,
You
you're
don't like
not
what that. Just because
Listen.
you
It's
don't like what
okay.
I'm
It's
saying doesn't
okay.
mean
It's okay. You're not intelligent. That's okay. Okay. You're not intelligent. You told me that this was a simple mathematical problem to fix for someone to buy a house. And I'm asking
yes,
you over
yes.
again, what are 50 million people
Generate more
supposed to do?
income,
And you
invest in
tell
that
me they
income,
generate
and
more
generate capital
income.
to buy a
Hold on a
house.
second.
Three
They
steps.
generate
Three
more
steps.
income by being in
Three
a
steps.
trade. And then I say there's not 50 million jobs in the trade. And your dumbass says, how do you know? Because we don't have 50 million jobs available in America in the trade.
How many millions of jobs do we have in the trades then?
I don't know. It's not 50 million.
Oh yeah, it's not 50 million, but
It's
it's in the
not
millions.
50 million.
It's
So
in
I'm
the
asking you,
millions.
where are 50 million people supposed to go? What are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to work? Because you're saying that these people are just supposed to go out into the
It's a
economy
free
and make
market.
this money.
Innovate.
And they're supposed
Innovate.
to go out and make this money, and they're just supposed to walk out there and be like, oh yeah, pay me more, despite the fact that you're ignoring that there's not the available money in the economy right now because the fucking billionaires are hoarding it. So where are they
Okay,
supposed to
billionaires
go?
bad. I get it. I get it. Billionaires bad. Money bad. I get it.
Billionaires are bad. Yes, billionaires are bad. It's a fucking policy failure that billionaires exist. Yes, it is.
No,
Yeah,
no.
100%. It's a
But what
policy failure
happens with
that one
sound
person,
financial
it's a
decisions? What happens?
sound
What happens
financial
with those?
decisions goes out the window when fucking one person has more wealth than the bottom 350 billion people on earth.
No,
Like
it's
that,
all
sound
about
decisions
personal
go out
choice and
the well on
responsibility.
that.
It's personal choice and responsibility.
Personal choice and
You're
responsibility.
obfuscating.
I have asked
Your
you a simple
jealousy is
thing.
clouding. Your jealousy
I don't
is
have a
clouding
jealousy of
decisions.
billionaires. I don't know what you're not fucking getting here. I don't want to be a billionaire, okay? I want other people to do well and not be fucking billionaires. So I'm asking you very simply, for the easiest thing you could tell me, where are these people supposed to go to work?
Go to Indeed.com.
And what?
I don't know.
And what?
There's plenty,
Where?
in 2025, there's plenty of opportunities.
Where are there?
out there.
Are there 50? No. You're saying there's plenty of opportunities for individual people. I'm asking you as a group where 50 million people are supposed to go, because there are not 50 million jobs available in the United States.
Yeah, well, again, life is rough. Wear a helmet.
I thought
right?
this was a
If you can get
simple.
40
I thought
if
this
you can
was a
get 30
simple
million
thing.
employed, if you get
Was
30
this not a
million
simple
employed-
thing? Was this not a simple thing?
Oh yeah, it is simple. But again, if you
But you can't explain it to me. But you can't explain
I
it to
can. You
me.
just keep interrupting.
I'm not interrupting you. I'm asking you
Yeah,
very
you're
simply,
getting
where
very
50.
emotional,
Here's
and you
the
just keep chiming
solution. I
in.
know, because you're annoying. Yeah. Here's a solution to your problem.
no,
There isn't
again,
one.
this is
There isn't a
why
solution
it's
to
so
your
annoying.
problem, because you're out here playing stupid. You're wondering, why are you getting annoyed?
No,
Because
that-
you're
that's-
playing
no, you got
stupid.
the
You're either
monopoly on
playing
that, my
stupid
man. You got
or
the
you
monopoly
are
on that.
stupid. You're either playing stupid or you are stupid. There is no mathematical fix for saying we don't have 50 million jobs. You're not going to find 50 million jobs. And you are obfuscating the fuck out of that point, because if you address it, it'll just undermine the shit out of your argument. There are not 50 million jobs available, period. This isn't a discussion. There's just not.
Okay. But if there's 30 million, then we can improve the lives of 30 million then, right?
There's not 30 million. There's not 30 million.
So
There's
then
9
how
million
many is
jobs.
there?
There's 9
How
million
many is there
jobs
then?
available in the United States, and most of them pay less than 15 an hour. So,
Okay, and that's based on the market. That's based on the free market, right?
I don't care about the free fucking market. You told me it
But
was
you complain-
easy.
you
You said
complain,
people
but
don't
then
buy a
you
home.
offer no solutions yourself.
You said I do have solutions. You're
What's
sitting
that?
here
What's your
saying
solution?
my solution would be better than yours, which is non-existent. Yeah.
No. What is
Raise
your
the minimum
solution? We don't
wage.
have a
Raise the
solution.
minimum wage. Put on a fucking wealth tax.
No.
Allow fucking corporate stock to go to fucking the fucking retirement funds for their employees. Actually force it. Universal health care, universal Medicare,
No, that's not
cap
gonna fix
pricing,
anything.
remove fucking corporate
gonna
and
fix
institutional. What do you mean it's not going to fix anything? The fuck?
No,
What do you mean it's not going to fix anything? We fucking did this already. It got us out of the Great Depression.
Oh, so you're saying something that happened 100 years ago is relevant today, or whatever, 90 years ago?
Economic policy, Keynesian economic policy, which was used to get us out of the Great Depression, is still widely used today.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, the American economy runs off that. Absolutely, I agree with you 1,000% there. But just throwing more money and taking more money from people who earn, who are
No.
skilled
No. Stop. Billionaires took that money from people. Billionaires did not earn that money. No, you're going to mute for this and you're going to go ahead and listen. Thanks. Billionaires took that money. They stole that money from. Hey, I'm talking. I didn't tell you to interrupt me. Billionaires stole that money from people. Billionaires. Hey, last chance. I told you to stop talking. I don't know what you're not getting here. If you unmute, you're gone. Billionaires stole that money. Hey, shut up. Go away. Go. Billionaires stole that fucking money from people. Billionaires weaponized the system so that they didn't have to pay their fucking workers. They didn't have to pay into their fucking employment. They didn't have to give them fucking paid time off. They literally turned their fucking workers into slaves that are required to go to fucking work every single day, and any minor inconvenience can literally fuck them over. That's how billionaires operate. That's how corporations operate. They keep their fucking employees impoverished so they keep showing up to fucking work. So they don't have any economic mobility to move around. Billionaires stole that money from the American public. They stole that money from people. We invested in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s into infrastructure in this country that those motherfuckers stole, weaponized, used in every single fucking way so that they could keep their money and they could keep fucking people over. They fucking literally, the fucking police system is built around fucking protecting corporations. The fucking government is around protecting corporations. Fucking politicians, you name it. The fucking law, it's all been written by their own fucking lobbyists. All of them. They all do that. Can someone tell me how you can walk into fucking a grocery store? And if you don't believe me, this is going to be your example. I could walk into a grocery store and steal $100 worth of shit and go to fucking jail. Okay? It's a misdemeanor. 6 months. I could go to jail for 6 months, of which the taxpayer has to pay for that. They have to pay the $1,500 or so in booking, and they have to pay that person to stay there, which works out in a county jail to about $30,000 over that 6 months, over $100 bill. Meanwhile, if you're Wells Fargo, if you're a major banking institution in this country, if you're Boeing that allows planes to crash out of the sky due to negligence, nobody, and you steal as much fucking money as possible, nobody goes to prison. Nobody ever goes to prison. Nobody. You know when people go to prison? It's when rich people lose money off their investment. Sam Bankman-Fried went to prison not because he fucking screwed people out of money. It's because he screwed rich people out of money. Bernie Madoff went to prison not because he stole money. It's because he stole rich people's money. Nobody from Wells Fargo, despite the 5 or 6 times that they've stolen billions of dollars, has ever gone to prison. Nobody at Boeing, besides the test pilot that took out the Boeing 737 MAX, was even tried. No one. No one. There was quality control throughout there. There were CEOs that went over the fucking books. There were fucking pilots. There was, the list goes on. People running checks. Not a single person went to fucking prison. They tried to lock up the fucking guy that flew the plane. And he was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I went and ran through all the checks. Nobody ever goes to fucking prison. Chiquita Banana, right? I don't know if you know this, about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, literally hired FARC, which is a fucking extremist group, an extremist paramilitary group in Colombia to literally brutalize, grape, and murder labor organizers and their families when it came to bananas. Do you know what happened to them? They paid $100 million fine. Did anyone go to prison? No. 10,000 people were graped. 2,500 people were murdered. No one went to prison. So don't sit there and tell me corporations, no, they steal money from people and they write the fucking laws so that they can continue to do it. Period. I don't know why the fuck we're sitting here having this conversation. Fucking nutso. They earned it. They earned more wealth than the bottom 3.5 billion people on Earth. You're fucking delusional. Quite frankly. You need to be fucking sedated and institutionalized. Good Lord. I fucking hate. The only thing worse than a fascist is a fascist bootlicker. Fuck.
The ones that uphold fascism. They're not even the beneficiaries of fascism. They just
no,
uphold
they're not.
Bullshit.
Yeah, and this is the way it is. They create different classes, right? Because you can't get people to not go against you. You have to have the middle class that's getting fucked out of money, that's being railroaded, that's being screwed over. By the way, I don't think we should have a lower and a middle class. I think we should just have a fucking unitary middle class. But they basically give a handful of people in society a little bit of economic mobility so they can say fuck everyone else. And they do it. And they're like, why? Because it's beneficial. Because they're fucking selfish. And what's going to happen? Now they're out here. These are going to be the same people that are going to lose their fucking house like they did in 2008. These are going to be the same people that are going to be laid off during a fucking recession. And they're going to turn around and they're going to fucking ignore that it was the fucking billionaires that did it. That's literally it. The billionaires are going to throw you under the fucking bus, eat up all the fucking money during the next recession, come out of it richer. You're in the middle class going, whoa, I made it. And then your fucking house is going to be taken. You're going to be living on the fucking streets. And you're going to be sitting there thinking, what happened? What happened is you defended this bullshit. Fucking
It was
nutso. This is why
immigrants'
nothing
fault.
fucking changed after 2008.
So are you saying you want a classless society?
Classless? Are you saying you're a communist? The more I talk to the free market people, the more I'm like, fuck it, communism. The more I'm like, fuck it, communism. The more I talk to these fucking assholes, I swear to God. Communism. Lowest
Yeah,
inflation since 2021. Thank you, Biden.
the term banana republic literally comes from Colombia when the corporations ran the government there and they just willy-nilly unalived people.
Annoying. We don't even have a free market. I don't even know what you're arguing about. The free market. This is not a difficult question. If you have 50 million people that cannot afford to live in America, that make too low a money, okay, that is not a problem of them. That is a problem of the system. It's a problem of the system. And there's no discussion here, okay? There's no discussion. If you're in the middle of a fucking the bubonic plague, you wouldn't be like, well, those people just need to take individual responsibility. Half the continent is fucking dead. It's not just that person, okay? It's literally an institutional problem. And these guys pan it off. It's like, well, they could pull themselves up. And here's the difference, okay? I literally worked, I think someone tipped over here really quick. I want to make sure I don't miss that. Sean, appreciate it for the 5. Thank you. I'll read that in just a second. I hate this shit by people that literally came from nothing, and then they pull themselves up. Not even that. They usually don't even get pulled up. They usually are like, they find a ladder and climb up it, and then they pull that fucking ladder out and go, fuck you, and spit on the way down. Here's the deal. I didn't make a lot of money pre this, right? I did pretty okay for myself in my later 20s, but I didn't make like great stellar money or anything. I still really don't, but at least I get to work from home. And but I didn't have like economic mobility. Like certain things were out of just out of reach. There was no way for me to like pull myself up because there were no fucking jobs that allowed you to do that. And I understand that from my perspective, like I'm very lucky in that regard, right? Very lucky that I get to work from home, that I get to do this, that I get to do that, that I get to see my son all the time. Very lucky in that regard. And I'm not sitting here going, yep, I'm going to pull this fucking ladder up. Like, fuck you, you guys are lazy down there. No, I got lucky. And pretty much everybody else got lucky in some capacity. And the fact that people don't think that they did really just, I think it has to do with, like, the this incessant want to, like, build your worth around how you did it, how you're rugged, how you're whatever. And you didn't. You didn't do shit. You didn't do shit. I fucking dug holes. Okay? If anybody's gonna sit here and go, yeah, I really did fucking pull myself out of a fucking hole, literally, it would be fucking me. And these guys are sitting here like, I'd worked so hard to... No, the fuck you didn't. You showed up to your dad's fucking law firm and walked in the door. Don't give me that shit that you worked so fucking hard. Oh yeah, no, you had your fucking girlfriend was helping you out at the time. Your fucking dad, don't give me that shit. I pulled myself up. It's this incessant want of people to feel like they're above the pack. No, you're not. You're not. You got fucking lucky. You got fucking lucky. And you don't owe a fucking obligation to the people that are in the same position that you were to vouch for them, to fucking lobby, to advocate. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just gonna say I think people have this thought process that because they struggled, others have to struggle as well. That's not like a lot of people do that. They do come from nothing, and they get up. They'll come into another class, a middle class, or make $100,000-$200,000 a year, and look around and be like, well, I did it. Why can't everybody else? And that's not. When I was able to rise up and come from, I mean, I literally grew up on government cheese and powdered milk, shit like that. That was my childhood. And when I became more successful, I looked around and I said, fuck, that was really hard. I had to struggle a lot. That could have been a lot easier if corporations and businesses didn't take advantage of my labor. That would have made it a lot easier. And it would have made it a lot easier for everybody else. But instead, a lot of people don't do that. They look around and say, yeah, I did it, and everybody else can too. You should look around and say, hey, man, just because I struggle doesn't mean everybody else has to. We should fight for something better. Where corporations aren't making billions while people... I honestly believe homelessness and
Page you in here?
those things are necessary in capitalism because it reminds the middle class of if you don't show up to work, this is what's going to happen.
Paige, is Paige in here?
I hope so.
Can I get one of my mods check out this Sean Highland dude and see if he's a Trump supporter in his page, please? I'll tell you why in a second. Because I can't tell. Oh, it's fucking Lucho. Hey, Lucho, we're getting together creators to come visit you. At work. Probably at work. Calling all creators. Yeah, I'm down. I think multiple people would do it, to be honest with you. I think multiple people would do it. Just fly down and show up at Lucho's work. I mean, this dude's been stalking forever, however long. 3 years now. Should we go record it? Sean, appreciate it for the 5. Thank you. That's Republicans blame the poor for being poor. Sad part is it takes money to make money. It's just having on other people and wanting to continue it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Could we get some dubs and drops in the chat for Sean? If you guys want to support, there's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. You guys can support over here. Help out with either the corgis or the sub goal. I'll actually ask him. Sean, you're joining right now. Where'd Josh go? Sean, are you a Trump supporter?
No, I hate all his plans, what he's doing. I voted for him, but I don't like how he's doing the country.
Okay. Someone said, Slumming going to go back to square one when realize I'm not talking about Lucio. Well, it's fine, because I'm subpoenaing to figure out who you are, so it'll be like 2 months. Best of luck.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to screenshot that.
Yeah, but everybody says I'm MAGA. I'm not even with the MAGA movement. I care about people, and this Medicaid stuff, the government needs to leave it alone. There's a lot of people that need that. Am I right?
Sorry, one more time? I didn't hear you that well.
I said thousands of Americans in this country need Medicaid. The Republicans need to leave it alone.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
And they need to leave the Social Security alone. If they want to make a lot of big spending, in my view, in my opinion, they should go after the military spending. We spend too much. We have a lot of money in the military. We are the #1 spender in the military, if I read it right.
Oh, all right, based.
Yeah, that's how I see it. I agree with this guy. I don't know if you heard of him, Isaiah Martin. I agree with him. We need universal health care.
Yeah, man.
Why'd you vote for Trump then? The hell?
Wait, you voted
Let
for
me
Trump?
see. Like I told everybody else, if Joe Biden would have stepped away and allow another candidate to start campaigning early, my view would have went to that candidate. But since Harris only had very limited time to put out her message and her whatever she's doing, didn't connect to me yet right away. But Trump, he was already campaigning, all that stuff. I know he's lacking on what he's supposed to be doing, like dropping prices, lowering the gases, and all that stuff. But I do kind of feel sorry for my vote. But
No.
All right, man.
and
Well,
I'm just saying, I'm for people. I love people, and people deserve really good stuff from the government, and not be dragged around by the government.
Do you vote to get whatever?
yeah. I
Josh,
don't
you
know what
wanted,
to
I
say,
tried.
but- No, I don't
mean-
know what to say,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly. I agree with you. My vote went for stupidity.
Who'd you vote for in 2020?
I admit it. Uh, I kind of went. I don't know. It was the same thing, but I'm glad Joe Biden won instead of Trump. And I admit Joe Biden won the 2020 election. I'm not in denial of that.
Oh, well.
Trump,
He's too sane-
all
he's too
Trump
sane to be
did
MAGA.
was he was whining. Trump, all he did was whine, whine, whine.
Too sane to be MAGA.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like you're recognizing what's going on, but you still voted
I
for
feel
it.
I'm gonna.
I don't know.
My honest
Well,
thoughts on this, or he's probably has my honest thoughts on this, or he probably has real progressive beliefs, but he very much like falls into the thing like a lot of Republicans do of like we want change, so they undermine their own vote by voting for someone that's going to bring change, despite the fact that they're going to, you know.
No, no, you're not understanding. I can't talk right. I have a problem. I have disability issues. I
fair.
study a lot and stuff like that, and I get made fun of about that. But I thought
he wouldn't.
since he was in office the first time, I thought he would be different in the second one. But apparently, he is still the same in the first term.
I'd say he's worse.
Yeah, I agree
Dude.
with you on that one. You're right about that.
So what do we learn? So what do we
No, I mean, I
learn?
don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm glad you regret your vote. I hope you learned something from it. I don't know.
Well, I'm planning
yeah.
on voting. I'm planning on voting for somebody really good. I'm going to be looking for someone that will help the people, not themselves.
AOC?
Not the who?
AOC?
Jasmine Crockett?
I don't know about AOC. She's way too. I don't know, way out in the yonder. She's got some really weird policies.
She would protect our rights more than anybody, man.
What? Okay. Well, let me go back on that. The Democrats actually did violate some First Amendments, all rights, First Amendment rights, by censoring on social media stuff. We can't say certain stuff.
They didn't
we're
censor
censored.
social. They didn't censor social media stuff. That's
Look
not
at-
what happened.
Look at TikTok. There's a lot of rules on TikTok that you can't say without them banning you.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not the
So we have to watch.
That's not the government though. That's TikTok, because they're in a precarious position, has been very, very aggressive with their content mediation, which I don't agree with. I think that they take it way too far. I think they've gone way too far.
Exactly, I agree.
I think it's in it, but right, but that's not the government though, and I think that has a lot to do with the
Yeah, but-
political position they're in.
Yeah, but you gotta take. I don't know, for some other ones. But everybody wants to mock somebody's vote. You shouldn't be asking who they vote for, where they're from. That's supposed to be private information, ain't it?
No, it's not.
That's
No,
privacy.
it's not. 100% not, man.
Yeah.
If you voted against my civil rights, we can't be friends.
No.
That means in real life, too.
That is my business. That's my privacy.
That's cool. And if somebody isn't willing to tell me, I'm going to go ahead and assume the worst. Like I am so down to cut people off in real life and social media. I don't fuck around. If you voted against my rights, we can't be friends. It's that simple.
Then you have a bad judgmental problem. You're judging people too much.
Okay. I'm trying to keep. This is self-preservation right now. Bro.
Have you seen? Wait a minute. Have you watched videos? I don't know what's on YouTube. Never judge someone by the book cover
Yeah, I don't get
until
my
you
morals
know
from YouTube.
what they've been through.
I don't get my morals from YouTube, and I look at it like this. Historically,
You okay? Wait a minute.
I'm-
You
I'm-
want to
hold on.
judge? You want to judge somebody but you don't want to
Sean.
understand what they're going through.
Sean, historically, if people, so I'm also disabled. I'm quadriplegic. I'm in a wheelchair. All the fun stuff. If somebody historically is willing to vote against my rights, then if other things were to happen to me because I'm disabled, they'll probably go along with that as well. And I'm not willing to entertain that in my personal life because it is dangerous in the political environment we are in now. I would rather cut ties and you have no idea where I live, anything about me, how to get a hold of me, because you could be dangerous to me.
Oh, not me, buddy. I don't believe in that. Heck, I don't even own guns. I hate guns. I don't even go hunting.
Okay.
So I don't care if Democrats or Republicans take away the Second Amendment. That's fine with me. I don't own guns because I hate guns. Because if you own a gun and you have it on you and somebody makes you so mad, bam, that's what happens. I'm just saying. I mean, there's a point in somebody's lives that you can push them to, and you have to watch out if they have any weapons on them. Sorry, I'm probably not allowed to use that word, but that's the way I see it, and that's what's going on in schools and the whole society.
Okay. All right, man.
The kids in there. I'm just making a point. Is the reason why for all this violence in this country is you got people making fun of somebody, kids bullying the other kids, and then after school's over with, they go home, think about what they want to do the next day, and they don't know what they're going to do. Look what happens.
Well, hey, man, we got some debates in the queue. We're gonna move on to the next one, but I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in, bud.
Okay, you have a good day. You have a nice
Take care
day
of
too.
yourself. Be safe.
I will.
It's interesting.
It was.
I don't know if Rage is meant to join. If you guys are debating, go ahead and hop in the box. Would appreciate it. I don't know who it was.
I don't know.
Oh, I saw like a username that was like, it reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean. I was like, huh, I'd like to go on that ride. That'd be nice. Arg. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
They need the local tourism right now, man.
Well, they ain't gonna get it for a while because of tariffs. Honestly, they kind of screwed themselves because Disney's crazy expensive. So expensive. It's so expensive to go. So expensive. They did it to themselves. But no, I took Baby K on that ride. He loved it.
On Pirates?
Yeah.
I haven't been in them.
Yo ho. He did that. He goes, that's not how it goes. Because he was listening to the Paw Patrol version, which is like, yo ho. He had no like redo it. Dre, what's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, last night I listened in for a while, and you were talking to this one guy, and you asked him if he was like an Israeli or if he was like, he spoke Hebrew, and he kind of evaded the question.
Oh, Marty?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you said, guys, I wonder if we should be speaking to him. Like, what did you mean by that?
Well, I wonder if we should be speaking to him.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like the moment you found out he's Israeli or maybe Hebrew, or like then you didn't want to like it's
He
almost
never
like you wanted
told
to
us
take
where he
him
was
like
from.
No, I just wasn't sure if I was gonna like talk to him because I was just like, I don't know if I wanted to, because he lied, so I didn't know if I wanted to continue, you know, like what he was saying wasn't making sense. I didn't know if I wanted to continue talking to him because he was lying. That's what it was.
Oh,
It had
okay. 'Cause I
nothing to
thought
do
it
with
was
where
like
who he
something to
was.
do with Israel and because he's a Jew, and I was like, yeah, dude, you can't hold
No,
like normal
dude.
people accountable for shit. So.
No, it had to do with the fact that he lied, and I was like, I don't know if I want to keep talking to this dude. I was asking the chat what they thought because the chat was like irritated as well. So.
No, I get it. Sorry, my alarms are going off.
No, you're good.
Aren't you a Trump voter though?
No. No.
I thought
Supporter.
You're from. Where are you from? South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I'd talked to you before. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, we've talked before a lot of times, actually. Over the years. Tommy's lost some weight. Anyway, cheers. I just wanted to know if you like starting to hate Jews now. I was like, whoa, Tommy.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Nope. All right.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yes.
That felt
Papa Wheelie's in here. We got any debates?
Papa Will is another person with disabilities argument against his own fucking rights. This drives me crazy sometimes.
Hello.
Hey man,
What's up, fellas?
did you check
Hey,
out
I
those
just
EOs
wanted
I was
to-
talking about?
Say again.
Did you check out those EOs I was talking about?
I did look into the DEIA thing, and I honestly I don't see anything that's actually affecting anything.
What?
Okay.
My follow up to that would be I wanted to ask you, as a fellow person on disability, how are you going to feel if this legislation passes and our checks aren't taxed anymore and we get an extra, I don't know, I think mine's like $130 a month or something like that. How would you feel if your disability check wasn't taxed and then you
Sure.
gained and you didn't actually lose anything in the process? Would you consider that a win?
Sure. Can you show me where it says that in the legislation?
I mean, I don't have the however many 100 pages of bills in front of me.
All the stuff you guys were talking about, it's not there. It's not. Would that be cool? Yeah, man. I'll take an extra $130, $300 a month. Fuck yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
But it's not there.
It's not in there.
I mean,
it's
can
very
you-
similar to the prescriptions, man. I want everybody in America to have access to medication that's going to keep them healthy.
Right.
But it's not
Agreed.
there. It's not.
Well, I
gonna be
guess when you
possible.
say it's not there, is there a place where I can go and look at this proposed legislation that's going to be voted on to make the determine? I mean, are you just saying it's not there, or is there like a provable place where I could look into this?
No, the legislation that they just passed, it's not. It has nothing.
No, the big beautiful
nothing in
bill
there.
that's coming.
They
that
keep
they're working
saying
on.
that. They keep saying they're going to
Right.
pass a bill in 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. They just passed the entire bill that they could have put that in, and they didn't.
That's not right. I understand what you're saying, but I think what the premise of what they're trying to base this upon is what Trump's wanting is basically everything tied into one bill. So you're saying that it's not there. I'm talking about this big beautiful bill, whatever it's going to be called. Like you're saying it's not there.
This was the big beautiful bill.
No, it's not. It's not been. We haven't even actually got to see. I don't think we've got to see it. That's why I was asking if it is out there. I would love to take a look and kind of poke through it, and see, make my own determination of what I think is good and bad and all of that.
Tommy, am I wrong? Did they not just pass the big beautiful bill? It was just passed 2 days ago.
What's the, you know what the operational name
It
of
was
it
the one
is?
that they cut the Social Security from. Yeah, it passed the House. Was it yesterday? I thought it was 2 days ago. I watched a video on it yesterday, explaining the breakdown of what was in there and what wasn't, and they were specifically saying all the things that they promised were not in there. And it was the big beautiful bill that's been touted.
Sure, and it might be, but I don't know how that works sometimes. Like, sometimes I think they also just vote on things to get them out of committee so that it can be brought up for, you know, additions and debate and things like that. I don't know the process of it all, and you very well could be right. I mean, I'm not going to say that if you're able to show me something that I'd be like, oh shit, well that's not cool. But what I'm saying is that I don't see any evidence out there. I actually see evidence that Trump will do more for the disabled community, regardless of what DEIA initiatives, like no laws have been changed, no benefits have been touched, like nothing has been touched. And if at the end of this, in 3 weeks, something gets passed and nothing has been touched to the negative, but something positive has been done, you know,
No, it has been
then at
touched.
what point? Say again.
They took the
So it's,
regulations.
they can't make changes to the Social Security under reconciliation, which is what
Is
they're
that what
pushing
the
this
big
through
beautiful? Is that what the bill is being pushed under? Is reconciliation?
with. Resolution. One second. Yeah, there's no Social Security stuff on there. They're adding deductions for elderly people.
If you don't mind me asking, Tommy, where are you sourcing this? I'd like to look for my own. You don't have to.
Newsweek.
Newsweek. So it's just you're just finding articles about you're not actually looking at Is there a place where I can
It's
find the
1,100.
legislation?
Yeah, it's 1,100 pages. It would be.
Well, that's the wonders
Yeah.
of ChatGPT nowadays. They can cut 1,100 pages down to about 5 minutes if you ask the right questions. Do you have a bill or a
I don't.
like a
They
number
did
that I could
pass
look up?
it. Second.
I appreciate the time, by the way. I'm not trying to take away from your time. And I am sort of opposition in a weird way, but I'm like a very neutral opposition. I'm very non-aggressive opposition, I guess.
Oh my god, could this thing leave me the fuck alone? Fucking pop up. Fucking Mac. Ugh, fucking application. Okay, CNBC. And it's trillions in second. Just to point out, this is like this whole. I just want to be clear here. This whole thing is a giveaway to billionaires. I just want to be perfectly clear there.
I mean, everything's a giveaway to billionaires. That's the whole point of them being billionaires, man. They pretty much run the show of the whole world. And until we can change that whole system, which I agree with you. Fuck a billionaire, right? At the end of the day, but unfortunately, we live in a world where that's just the way that it is, no matter what country you're in. I'd love to change it, if I found a genie lamp or something like that. But, unfortunately, we just got to kind of try to play within the bounds of the system that's short of a huge revolution.
Why are we? I mean,
Phoenix
why are
rising
we?
from the ashes.
So this is a $4,000 deduction. Okay, rather than cutting taxes on Social Security, the plan includes an extra $4,000 deduction for older Americans, which may not fully cover Social Security income, according to some experts.
Ooh, that's actually a little more than what if you got a $4,000 deduction, that would, $1,300 or $100. Let's just say it's $100 a month that you would save on your taxes. That's $1,200 a year, and for deductions. But then again, at the same time, though, man, like the standard deduction's $15,000, so a lot of people don't even tackle that. So actually, kind of
Right. So
to
says tax filers with no other income sources outside of Social Security would typically see little benefit, while others may see bigger gains from this idea. So in other words, if you're working if you're working with Social Security, then you would be able to claim more of it.
Yeah, that's that standard deduction. I think it's 15,000, and until you breach that 15,000, everybody just gets a preset lower income like standard deduction. So I can actually see that. And actually, you didn't mention anything about. You said the older community. Fuck, this might turn around and not benefit disabled folks at all. To be honest, then if that's the language that it finally comes out in.
Well, this is $90 billion. I just want to point out. So this is supposed to cost $90 billion over 10 years. In that same time period, they're giving away $4.5 trillion to billionaires. AJC, appreciate the 5 gifted over on YouTube. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for AJC? And Wells, appreciate it. Thank you for the $1. What is a pirate's favorite kind of pants? Peg leggings.
Yeah. It's $90 billion per year for 10 years, not over 10 years.
Oh, is it per year?
for
Yeah, it's it's $880 billion total over 10 years, which comes out to
That's a lot.
88 billion per year.
and you're talking about tax deductions for basically corporate America is where that number's coming from.
Correct. They're taking it from Medicaid. So I've got the bill up right here. It's so fucking long. But it's essentially the energy and commerce attack. Well, it's an attack on Medicaid. They're taking it from Medicaid
Right.
and giving it to taking it
Well,
from Medicaid, giving it to the rich people.
yeah, and in a vacuum, I would say that that's awful. But I'm also one of the people that's under the belief that there is a lot of taxpayer-funded money that goes through the Social Security system that does not go to people who should qualify for Social Security or
Less
disability.
than 1% of people who receive benefits from the government actually are abusing the system. It's about 1%. So 99% would suffer if we took it away just to catch that 1%.
Well, I think so. This is where I would be on your side if they're lying, right? And they actually did cut benefits to people that were deserving, and it wasn't things such as you say 1%, but there's a lot of able-bodied people out there that just sit at home and collect benefits through different things, different systems that's made it easier. I know plenty of them in my own life. Like it's quite sickening to be honest, the amount of money that they're able to get by doing that. And I think what the game plan and the goal is
Hey,
to
man, you're
cut
on
out all of
disability,
this
right?
stuff. Yes, I am.
You know how
Yeah, this
hard
is
it
just-
was to obtain disability?
It was super easy, bro. I'm
It
literally
was super
triple
easy
What?
to obtain disability?
Absolutely.
How long did
bro.
it take you?
It took me the standard amount of time. Well, less than 6. It took 4 months for everything to go through after I was in my accident, and I think their
Well,
time
okay.
That's
frame is like
easy?
6 months.
That's
Yeah,
a little
that's very
different.
easy.
That's a little different than most people getting on a disability. Where
Right.
You had a traumatic injury where it was very
Yes,
clear.
that was very
Right.
clear.
That's
yes.
a little different than most
Right.
people getting on disability. It's an extremely
Took you
hard
4 months to get on
process
disability?
where you have to prove
Yeah, that's fact.
that you're
Tom,
disabled.
actually.
And then once you go through that process, which is typically 6 months at minimum, it takes almost a
Right.
year just for the payment. And then you continuously have to prove that you're disabled. Like they set you up with caseworkers, and if they catch
sure.
you doing stuff, you're in trouble.
I mean, I also hold a job down. Like I work as well. I'm somebody that works, while being on disability.
But it's not a fair and accurate statement to say it's easy to obtain disability.
5
is
years,
not.
Sean?
No, for the people who, what I'll say is for the people who have a true, like yourself and myself, people out there, which I think these things were intended for, absolutely. Now, is it a little bit trickier so I have a friend that has Farr's disease, and she just finally went through the whole process. It took her, like you said, like a year. She did get her back pay. She got a fat check when it was all said and done. But she had to go through a lot of genetic testings and things because it wasn't easy to see, like, oh, you're obviously disabled. It's obvious on the paperwork. So, yeah, in those instances, it does. And the timing, I wish it was faster. But, I think there's a vetting process that has to happen to try to keep fraud low, or people who aren't deserving of it, low.
And they do less than 1%.
Sure, that are flat out fraudulent, but there's a huge portion of people that are taking benefits that kind of game the system. Maybe they knew a doctor. There's plenty
there's
of,
not
Okay.
there's not a huge portion of people, but regardless, like the waste fraud you're talking about is minimal compared to the amount of money. I mean, we're like it is frustrating to me to watch people blame like this group for a handful of people within that group, but don't blame billionaires because it's everyone in that group. Right?
Absolutely.
It's everyone in that group.
Absolutely.
Right, but they're getting
I
the
think we
amount
can all
of money
agree on
that they're
that.
getting. It's like the amount of money that they're getting it would be like this. If your house is on fire and your doghouse is on fire, it would be like focusing on your doghouse. Like that's not the problem.
I agree.
Right? That is a problem, sure, but that's not the problem. So
Right.
why, you know what I mean? Like the amount of money that billionaires are gaming the system on is insane. It's insane.
Yes.
And we're hyper focused on people that are bringing in less than 30,000 a year.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, maybe some people are hyper focused, and this isn't even really a big issue for me. It was more, I guess, my initial thought for jumping up in the box really was like, I'm just trying to find places where people can, find wins in their own lives. A lot of we're failing to, and it's happening in the media as well. Like very easy. Okay, I'll flash back to where we had two. Let me ask you this question: when will you guys consider the United States to be in a recession?
I don't know yet. I don't think it really matters.
So, like, if we've had
Like-
one negative quarter of GDP growth, if we have another one, are we in a recession at that point?
Well, we haven't had a negative one yet, but I would say no, we're not in a recession. We'll
Oh,
know
we
when
did-
we're in a
what was
recession,
the-
probably
this
by the
last
end of the
print,
year.
Was it negative? I
It
thought
was
this last print
negative.
was
It
negative.
was negative. It's going down. It's year over year. It's not negative yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
So I think
here's
it's
my
I think it's
point being-
down negative 0.03 or negative 0.3.
I got you. Okay, right on. So my overarching point is that I guess I'm looking for a little more fairness in the way that things are worded. Because I can remember whenever during Biden's term, we had those two negative growth quarters, and we didn't go into a recession, and they didn't even mention the word. You couldn't hear the word recession. It was like it was a dirty word. They wouldn't even fucking be like, oh, maybe, and they base it upon that we had strong growth in jobs. So I guess my first thing is going to be that I doubt that happens this time. If we have two negative prints, they won't change the definition to say, well, the job growth is good if it's good. They'll just want to say that we're in a recession, and I just find that things like that are highly unfair because
Well-
that's all you hear. We're not close to a recession right now, but we'll
I
sure
mean,
talk
but
about
here's
it like
the
we're in
thing,
one and
like-
drum up all the fear.
If we were talking about Biden and what happened with Biden, it would be unfair for us to say that he caused a recession, which is what MAGA was concerned about when they were saying that. And it's not only unfair; it's just wrong, right? Like we
I agree
had
with that.
negative. Sorry, there's a lot of clicking in the background. There was a lot of decline in that period because the amount of money from the PPP, from COVID spending, etc., had largely dried up. And so the expansion, the ability, and by the way, the stock market had been in the decline. The ability of these stocks, people were learning like, oh, they're not actually worth that much. They got super overinflated, especially micro caps got super overinflated. And so they started coming down. So there was a lot of concern. There was a lot of people going, oh shit, is the market freezing up right now? Because we were in the height of COVID. They didn't know if we were going to come in for a soft landing or not. So to that, but this is purely self-inflicted. Purely self-inflicted.
Well, I would agree with that premise if in 6 months or whatever time frame we actually go into a recession. I mean, at least what I'll give Trump is he went out and said it'll be a little bumpy whenever I try to reorganize the whole trade of the world and to redo the system as we know it. And like it was bumpy, and it may still be bumpy, but I mean we've recovered from that very well. And he did tell us ahead of
he's
time like
backed
there's
off
going to
of
be
it.
a little bit of pain
He-
involved.
Yeah, but he hasn't actually done it. He's just backed off of it. That's all he did.
Backed off what?
He backed off doing that.
Tariffs.
No, what he did was he made everybody go, woo, that was only 30% instead of 145%. Like, it's
Bro,
still 30
it was
fucking percent.
10.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
No,
And
It
most,
was
I
people,
know,
10.
that's
and most people, so what he did is he desensitized it to where now, like, people aren't freaking over fucking the craziness of it.
Jesus
I
Christ.
know because
We
he
started
backed
at
off
10.
of that. He said tariffs are going to solve America's problems, and then he goes to 30%. Now here's the thing: at 145%, maybe companies start thinking about coming to the United States. At 30%, they're not thinking about coming to the United States.
They absolutely
30%
would think
is
about coming to the
30%.
United- Why wouldn't they?
Not on 30% tariffs. They're not.
Absolutely, bro.
It's-
What do you think they're being taxed in their own country?
They're not. They're absolutely not thinking about spending tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars of manufacturing plants in the United States to make less money from the fucking labor that's going to be way more expensive. 30% does not even cover labor costs for Chinese workers.
Okay, but
It
what I'm
doesn't
saying
even
is,
cost
is
that
like, what do you
offset's
think
not
they're
even there.
taxed?
It's easier.
The offset is
What?
the 15% tax they'll be locked into if they move their company over here. So then it's only they don't pay any tariffs and they have a lower tax rate that they'll get.
Right,
in
but
any
what I
other country
okay,
in
but
the
let me
world.
break this down for you. Let me break this down for you. They produce something in China,
Right.
they sell it here, they add a 30% tariff when it goes over there. Price goes up however much, dependent on what they're charging in overhead, right?
Right.
So that 30% cost, but to the good from that company, okay?
Sure.
Their workers make 3 times less in actual wages than we do. That's based off of like just the basic rate going in America, which is like $15. They make
Right.
at least 3 times less. That 30% doesn't offset what they pay for in labor. So why would they move over here, pay 3 times the labor cost for a 15% tax break?
Well, so I guess it would all come down to the numbers of it. What is their labor costs in a year versus their tax and tariff costs versus a year? Then I think that if you could compare those numbers to what would if the offset is that the number that you paid in taxes actually matches on your balance sheet at the end of the year or is less than what the increase in labor would be, then I think that would be super beneficial. I mean, it would be a win-win. Obviously, no company's going to come over here if it's not going to win for them and be beneficial for them. And I wouldn't encourage that at all. But at some point as well, like, and I hope that's something that's being addressed during these trade negotiations that's going on, is that how are we can't continually try to compete with countries that are going to, it shouldn't be on us because China's a piece of shit and won't pay their workers appropriately. And we do very well to pay them, but we still don't hit all the marks. There's still people in fucking Kentucky that are on seven. Some people say, well, people aren't getting the seven. Who gets paid $7.25? There's probably plenty of fucking people out there that's getting $7.50 an hour that can't find jobs, places, and stuff. And that is so far from a livable wage.
Why do we want to bring factories here that are producing shit in China that we don't want to produce in the first place? Why does that make
Well,
sense?
I think the factories that produce the shit that we wouldn't want, I don't think they would ever make the consideration to come this direction.
The stuff that the stuff that China is able to produce at a cheaper rate, the stuff that we need to make stuff is produced in China. Why do we need to focus on producing that? Why don't we just focus on, I don't know, let's be the best in energy production so we can sell our energy to the world. That's what we can offer the world to trade. Instead of punishing the citizens with charging them 30% more on anything that comes from China now, like you guys are the party of lower taxes and smaller government, and here we are all of a sudden paying 30% more in taxes. You're just calling them tariffs, so it's not the same thing, I guess.
Well, so what I will say is that you're speaking in future tense. You're talking about things that have not come to fruition yet. What I can tell you anecdotally from my own experiences, and I live in a very blue state of Illinois.
What do you mean future tense? This is happening
Yeah,
now.
where did you pay 30%? Tell me one thing that you bought in the last week that you paid 30% more on.
Yeah, bro. You've
That's what I
already
mean by
shown
future
yourself
tense.
to be intelligent, so
Oh,
don't
I can.
play dumb.
I'm not playing.
I
I'm
can.
not playing. I'm just saying.
Chobani.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I
Absolutely.
could show you.
Chobani.
So I just had the compressor fan on my refrigerator. And it's only 3 years old. It's an LG
Oh, that
refrigerator.
sucks.
Had to get it replaced. Okay, the guy told me you're lucky it didn't happen next month because we still have these in stock here. All across the pages, the sites that he orders from, plastered all across the front pages, it says to the technicians, prepare your customers, they're going to have to pay more. That's an anecdotal experience I had yesterday.
Sure, future, but yet again, another future tense, thing. And I'm not going to say that you're wrong and that it won't happen.
That's not a prediction. That's literally the people who buy stuff from China telling us this. That's not a prediction.
Well, I mean, it's sort of. I don't know another word that it would be for it. You're saying something that they're predicting as well. They don't. Did they mention to you that we bought a secondary supply and this is exactly what the cost increase is, or are you just saying 30% based upon the numbers? Because a lot of times these companies, if it's 30%, they'll eat 15 of it. lot like GM. Actually, GM came out and said that they make $14 billion in profits. They're going to eat every bit of the tariffs. They assume it's going to be about $4 billion, so they're only going to have $10 billion in profits, and they're not passing on one single increase to the customer.
Cool. I had to get my refrigerator repaired yesterday, and this
Right.
this is what people who are professionals in this stuff are telling me.
I understand.
That's not a future
I guess
prediction. This is literally they're buying stuff from China and they're having to pay
Right.
more. Hold on.
Uh-oh. LG's knocking. They say you talking shit about LG, about our refrigerators. No, I get it, but I guess I want. You said Chobani. Is that a yogurt or something?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll give that to you, but I mean, I can also pop example. I mean, almost everything that I purchase from either whether it be going to Walmart, to Dollar General, to the gas station, to the only thing that's actually higher and stayed higher is the restaurant costs around here. Everything else is slightly cheap. It may not be a lot cheaper, but honestly, the prices of literally everything in Southern Illinois that I've purchased are slowly, like slightly coming down. And I think it's from energy costs. Now, I'm not saying that it won't happen in
They haven't
3
hit
months,
yet, man.
maybe we get hit. Right. And if they do hit, but that's what I'm saying is maybe we're like doom and glooming through the negotiation
Why do you keep
process.
saying if? Why do you keep saying if? Like you understand there's a 30% tax. There's a 30% tariff on things coming from China.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know how you think we're
not
going to
everything.
avoid that. Unless
don't
all of
think
a
that-
sudden corporations stop doing the capitalism thing where they want to make as much
I
profit
mean,
as
GM
possible.
did. GM ate every bit of
Okay,
it. They took
okay,
it out
that's-
of their profits.
I'm not buying a car within the next 5 years. I have to buy other stuff though.
Sure.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but so then, I guess I would ask you, right now, you guys talk as if we have, everything's more expensive. When the reality is most things for most people right now are a little bit cheaper. And I guess, why don't we say that? Why don't we say I
it's
get it,
cheaper
things
for
are a little
people?
cheaper right now,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
not,
might be
though.
more expensive in 6 months, 3 months, 2 months.
It's
You would have to
stuff's
show me
not
where things are a
cheaper. I
little
don't-
bit more cheaper.
I don't know what you're talking
I mean,
about. We're about to
do a
run out.
fucking
I mean,
Google
we're about to
search.
run out of stock. We are literally about to run out of stock on stuff here real quick. So I'm not sure what you mean by this.
I mean that things in my area, for everybody within a 50-mile fucking radius for sure of me, things are generally cheaper, including one of the biggest household. Now, rent. There's a lot of other things that are fucked up. Your
Rent's
life
definitely
insurance,
not
your
cheaper.
car insurance, all these different things. Those things, something needs to be done about that. But goods and services, minus the food industry, in my area, in larger metropolitan area, all the way down to the buttfuck Egypt tiny towns, things are generally cheaper. And I mean, everybody can scream to the fucking rooftops as much as they want. The media, any type of podcast personalities and all of that. But it's the same problem that happened back whenever everybody was telling, don't believe your lying eyes about the prices of everything. The economy's strong. Now
Bro,
we're
you're
saying
gonna have to
the
show me where
economy's
things are
fucked,
cheaper.
But everything's okay. Well, I
You're
mean,
gonna have
type
to
in
show
the
me where
price of
things are cheaper,
gasoline.
man.
Type in the price of gasoline in your local area. What it was.
The
4
national
months ago,
average is
what
at
it
like
is now.
It's higher.
318 right now.
Mine's higher.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show me what
What?
is cheaper. Eggs? What? So we're saving $1 on a thing? I don't give a shit about eggs. What
Right.
about all the other stuff that the agriculture that's coming in is more expensive right now?
I mean, most of our meat, our poultry, our meat, our vegetables, things of that
meat's
nature.
crazy
The
expensive
more,
right now.
the more
Have you bought beef
perishable.
recently?
I have. I just bought a quarter cow about 2 weeks ago for the deep freeze.
Yeah, it's
Um,
expensive, right? I just bought a
It
shoulder
was
clot
cheaper
last
than I got
week.
it last time.
I got a 13-pound shoulder clot last week. They're typically about $70.
Nice.
I paid $90 for it this time.
Oh shit. Yeah, I
That
mean,
shit's expensive,
and,
man.
listen, and at the same time, there are some, I shopped around a little bit, and there are some meat companies locally around here that are trying to jump on the whole, well, people say things are more expensive, so they're marking shit up a little bit more. So, I mean, that happens on a large scale and a small scale. I guess my point being is that I hope that you guys are wrong, but I'm not going to count it off to say that you're wrong. And maybe everybody that's listening or watching the show, and even you guys a little bit too, like, I get it. Like, fucking Trump bad, Trump does bad shit. I get it. I'm not the biggest fan, but we were left with two fucked up choices 3 years in a row, or three cycles.
One of those
in a row.
choices was going to attack civil rights. I don't know.
No,
how
I get
that's
it. I'm not
acceptable
gonna, go into all of that. But like, look, until it's bad, like, don't spend all your guys' mental capital all this time, because then what happens if it fucking turns around and the bad stuff doesn't happen and it actually is? I know it's hard to understand.
already
I
is
don't quite not
happening.
saying I understand
It's
it.
already
I
happening.
don't
dude.
understand. I don't understand why you're saying this. The prices are going up. Bad stuff's already happening.
What prices
I don't
are
understand
going
what you're
up?
saying. I've already told
What
you.
prices are up right
gas
now?
in my area has gone up. Gas has gone up in my area. We're gonna
Well,
watch
gas in
prices
my
go
area
up
is
as
down,
well.
so let's.
I don't. If you put
Yeah,
a
but you're saying
what-
future tens.
I don't know where
As
the
we
gas in
sit
your
here-
area
as
would
I
be
sit
down
here
at,
today-
but gas has not gone down. Okay, where's gas gone down at?
Let me give a area. Let me see close by to me. You can go try like Carbondale, Illinois.
Jesus
about-
Christ,
it's a little
you
bit
are in
close
the
to
middle
me.
of nowhere.
I am, bro. That's like a big area that I gave
You're
just to try
out
to
by
like.
Franklin, aren't you?
I am in a even smaller area than that. My town has one gas station, 7 churches. They don't freaking sell alcohol because of the 7 churches. A Dollar General and like maybe 900 people. But the cost of living is super doable. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the trade-offs. Like, much more
What county?
rural, but you can go with Jackson County, Illinois. That's where Carbondale's located in.
It's not really showing it.
But so I mean, look, I'm with you guys. I'll be the first ones to say, fucking, let's, I'll join the side of when shit goes bad. Like, okay, I was fucking wrong. He was wrong. We're wrong. I guess what I'm asking for is just a little bit of time
already
to,
gone
instead of
bad, though,
assuming.
It hasn't
Yeah,
changed.
but you say that, but I
It's
don't-
saying month
there's
ago
no-
average is 342. It's 340 right now is the current average.
I just paid like $2.95 a couple of days ago.
I'm showing the Illinois average, but my gas prices are going up.
Oh yeah,
and
the
just
average.
just
Yeah,
to
because
point out,
they factor in like Chicago and all that shit. It's probably $5 a gallon up there, so that kind of throws our average off. But
okay,
I mean, what
if
I
you
guess
put
what
a
I'm saying
tax
is,
on
as
stuff,
of right
if
now,
you put a tax on stuff, does the price go up?
if you put a tax on something, does the price go up? I mean, that's yes, absolutely.
The company won't eat
Okay,
it.
so a 30% tax would cause stuff to go up, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
if
why are
you
we
put-
having
if
the
you put-
discrepancy?
No, yeah, but you're okay. Let's look at it like this. If my state were to say, okay, we're going to add a $1 tax to cigarettes, every cigarette that's sold, absolutely, that's going to be passed off to people. That not all the companies are going to eat it. That's the way it's going to fucking happen, right? But to say that a company that because they have 30% tariffs and they can't, adjust with their, and it's one specific company, not like GM, for instance. GM, they ate that shit. Ford, they're eating that shit, and they're providing employee incentives right now on their vehicles,
that
and like
twice a
80%
year.
of their vehicles. Sure. Well, sure. Fair enough.
They're doing
My
it
point being
to-
that if you on the tariff side of things, that it's not an across the board decision like you are when you're hit with a state tax. Like every single company that's making that product is hit with the same thing. That's just not the way that it is.
So if
You
we
might
tax
have
it, it's a tax on the people. But if it's a tariff, the corporation might eat it.
no,
Is that-
no. What I'm
that's-
saying is that the people
nobody's
that are
gonna
going
eat
to
it,
go
dude.
into the-
Hey man,
Okay, but
it's not
well, what
like
if
we're going
if
to be
you
taxed
decided to
30%.
outsource- GM ate it. You're saying nobody's going to eat it, and I'm giving you 2 examples of Ford and GM, and they have fucking absolutely
not,
ate it.
They're not eating
Put it in their
They're not eating
guidance.
anything. They're not eating anything.
So
they do this sale on a
GM
regular
didn't
basis. And
revise
by the
down.
way, what? GM and Ford
revised their
frequently
profits
give
down
away.
from 14
they-
billion. No. GM, they revised their projection of profits from 14 million down to 10 million because they said they are not passing the tariffs onto the customers. So that
They're
say that that's going
trying.
to
They
cost
did
them
not
$4
say
billion.
that. They did not say that. They said they're not doing it yet. Why? Because the trucks that they've already built, the cars that they've already built, were not tariffed. They offer employee pricing on a regular basis, and they do this. In this instance,
Only
they're
Ford
doing
is
it
doing
to
it.
try and
GM's not
offload
doing
industry. They're trying to offload inventory. Why? Because they're going to need revenue to be able to pay for the tariffs. Because they generally, and this is per them. By the way, I talked to Jared, who runs CarBuzz, and he said he was in the board meetings with executives, like big wig guys, who were like, "We have no idea how much the tariffs are going to cost us." They have no idea.
Well,
so
for
they're
this-
trying
for
to
this
prepare
year-
by cutting their inventory, because I don't know if you know this, they still have a lot of inventory left over from even 2023. So they are trying to offload inventory as quickly as possible.
Sure. No, I don't disagree with that on Ford. GM's not offering any employee pricing. Ford is right now, and like
GM's literally
you're-
saying that the possibility of some price adjustments is there. They just came out.
yeah,
with
the
very
possible.
far- She said
I'm
stated
going
that they
off of
intend to
what-
keep vehicle prices relatively stable, but there's a possibility of some price adjustments. Like they're not. They have a responsibility.
Yeah,
to
but
their
if you turn
shareholders
on
to
the
increase
media, the
profits,
media
man.
will tell you that it's a 5 that they have. Everybody's dealing in the fact that they believe that they know the numbers and what's going to happen is absolutely going to happen.
This
and
is the
what I'm
CEO of
saying-
GM. I'm sure they've ran
Yeah,
the
I
numbers.
listened to the CEO of GM give their conference call for earnings. I listened to the whole thing, and
I don't know
that's
what that
who
has
I'm
to
taking
do
my
with what I'm
information
saying.
from. Because that was their a earnings call offers forward projections. Whenever they give, most companies that do an earnings call, they offer a forward-looking statement,
Wait,
and things
This
of that
is
nature.
the GM. This is the GM. I'm sorry, the CEO of General Motors saying that they're going to probably have to raise prices. The possibility
They
of
might,
raising
yeah.
prices.
It's possible that if it eats too much
Okay.
more into their profit, yeah, possible. So we're on the same playing field. Like you agree, it's possible but not guaranteed.
I don't think there are any guarantees, but if you're seriously gonna say that they're not going to make as much money as possible, you're kidding yourself. That's not how
Well, then
capitalism
why
works.
did they adjust their profit from 14 billion to the 10 billion?
They
It was
didn't.
adjusted
They said they're gonna.
specifically.
They said it's a
did.
It says they're gonna receive up to a 3.5 billion hit. They're
That
anticipating
they are
the
taking
hit because of
the
the
hit
tariffs.
to stabilize prices, right? They're basically eating
And it could
everything that they
still-
possibly can.
Right, and they're still going to have to raise prices.
Could, yeah, keyword
Okay.
could,
Okay.
could. No, I agree with you. Could,
You
and I
depend
could
on
be
these
right, I
little
could be
words
wrong.
so much to
You
emphasize
depend
your
on
point.
finality.
But
You
no,
depend on
when they come out,
thinking
when
that
they
you're
come out,
right and assuming that the outcome is going to be what you think it is. Now, I'm here saying that you could be right and I could be right. We don't know.
I'm not
Neither
saying,
one of us.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're right. I'm saying the CEO of General Motors came out and said
Yes.
this. That's what I'm saying.
That it's possible.
And you're saying
right, that
could.
They're saying
no. This
that they could.
Hey, bro. Hey, man.
Now, what
can
does
I finish?
possible mean?
Hey, can I please
Possibility
finish?
means could. Absolutely, my bad.
You are very dependent on this one possible. Yes, this is what the experts are saying. This is what the CEO of General Motors is saying. They're going to have to take a hit at $3.5 billion and a possibility to raise the prices on their cars. Now, you want to be, okay, I'm definitely going to lean on the $3.5 billion, but I'm going to put a lot of doubt because she said possibly. Yeah, man.
Sure.
They're not going to intentionally lose money. It's that simple.
They
And for you to
just
think
did.
that
They
capitalism would
intentionally
work-
made the decision to lose $4 billion in their profits in order to not pass off the current cost. So I mean, they already did. We can say they did that. That's not a future. That's not a possible. That's not a spin. That is absolutely correct. Right? Absolutely correct.
Drew, appreciate it. Can this $15 count towards the $15 I contributed to the kick pool last night? Yes, absolutely. It's time to move on. You want to finish it up?
Appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for having me up, guys. I'll leave on
All
my
right.
own terms instead of being booted. See ya.
Yeah, man. Be safe.
You guys have a good day.
Take care. Yep. Just lost in this. How wrong does it have to go? Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for Drew? If you guys want to support the channel, by the way, there is a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Dude was putting me to sleep with that.
I guess
But
it's okay to
Drew,
attack
appreciate it.
human
Can we get
rights
some
if,
dubs and drumsticks?
If you can buy a cheap Chevy, you can also attack civil rights. That's acceptable.
Well, they ain't getting a cheap Chevy or civil rights. That's the fucking crazy part, you know? That's the flippin' crazy part. Anyway.
We do have people in queue. Are you ready to wrap it up, or you want to take more?
Well, I have this
got a queue?
person that says "Hail Trump." That's crazy behavior.
Yeah. Did you see Kanye came out with a new song?
What's up?
What's up? What's going on?
literally- Everything
Nothing.
in
How
my
you making
body
out there?
cringed when you said that.
When I said what? What's up?
Yeah.
Your whole existence makes me cringe, but I didn't tell you that.
Good. I
Even
thrive
that was
on
cringy.
I thrive.
Even
on
that was cringy.
So what are you crying about today?
Your
I don't know
dad
if
made
you
me
are
pull
not
out.
good at reading human emotions, but we are definitely not crying. So you should probably.
MAGA is a fascist movement. Oh.
Awesome. You heard it
You guys
here.
are failing
Cool.
at an
Thanks.
incredible-
Hey, you heard it from him. That's nice. The Trump supporters said MAGA was a fascist movement. Awesome. Cool. All right. Sounds good.
Debate
User,
one,
what's
who
up?
won?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, we won. We'll take it. What's going on? Are you driving right now? Hello?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, man.
Barely. Your audio's not that great, but.
I'm in bad service.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
be-
Well,
Yeah, it's on me.
okay, so what's going on? What's your take?
Hey, so with the tariffs, a couple things that I want to say is the tariffs, the taxes on the import. So I think a lot of times when we look at it, we're saying, oh, it's going to go up 30%, right? If the final product is $100, but the import is, they're getting it for $10, the $10 is what's getting the 30% tariff, not the $100. So that tax would only be $3 on the $10, not
Oh,
30
wow.
on the 100.
Wow. Hey,
Okay,
is that
but
30%
the
more
problem
on a
with that
product?
logic is nobody is charging $10 for, nobody is paying $10 for a $100 product. At least not in bulk, because there'll always be competition. I understand what you're saying, but yes, they're still going to have to pay more. So, I mean, if the markup is 20 or 30%, obviously volume matters. So sometimes it'll be 10%. Then yeah, your tariff is going to be significantly more. Sometimes more expensive items, the markup is 100%. It can be more than that, 150, because you're holding onto the item for longer. You're selling less of it. So in that instance, yeah, like the tariff is not going to be as significant as the final sale price, but that doesn't mean the tariff is not going to be significant.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as significant as what you're saying, though. It doesn't mean an automatic 30% increase on the total price.
I'm aware, but didn't say that.
Hey, man, are you a fan of taxes? Oh. He left.
Okay.
I don't know if Charlene is a debate.
I don't think that she. I don't think that she meant to join. All right. If you guys are debating, go ahead and hop on in the box. Would appreciate it. That would be awesome. Yeah, you can request up later. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Pacific. Charlene, okay, I guess meant to join. Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Hey,
Tommy,
what's up, Charlene?
hi. What I was calling to tell you was while the guy was talking about what could happen. My daughter works at Georgia Pacific in Cedar Springs, Georgia. 2 weeks ago, they told them they were going to lay off some because of the tariffs, and China was their biggest buyer. This morning, she called me and told me that they're shutting down their complete plant in August, and they're shutting down other plants too because of the tariffs. So I hope the guy is still listening. It's happening. It is happening now. Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Charlene.
Thanks.
Maybe we just got a threat
We
in the
did
chat.
just get a death threat.
Someone said, yeah, he said,
Retribution is
retribution,
coming.
just predicate retribution coming, be careful. Retribution is the name of my AR. It's actually not. I do need a cool name for it.
You name your pistols?
Only the important ones. I know, usually.
All of them are important.
Well, you know what I mean. Some of them, I mean, like, I've always had the thought to do it, but I've never done it. So, during Christmas, I bought a shotgun, and it's a black Benelli Nova. I've had a Nova since I was 13. Love the gun, but it's the one that I had is getting a bit old, and I'm gonna be real with you. I put about like 8,000 rounds into it, so I was like, it's probably time to replace it. And it already had like some first gen issues with it, so like some stuff that was just annoying that I think they fixed later on. Had like an ejection issue or whatever. It wasn't anything major that I couldn't deal with, but that one was called Bessie. And then I replaced it with a black shotgun because it was only like $300. It was on sale. I was like, okay, I can't beat that. And that one's named Pagan.
Pagan?
It's an all black Nova. Pagan, yeah.
Pagan.
Yeah.
Like Peggin?
P-A. Pagan.
Oh, okay.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah, Pagan.
That's better.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing with the shotgun, bro?
Not pegging, Pagan.
Hey, the user's back.
God damn. Y'all are sick. Y'all are sick.
About to get some pipe hitting motherfuckers out here.
In the 1911 that I got, I named, what?
About to get some pipe hitting motherfuckers out here. Gonna go medieval on his ass.
My
Pulp Fiction?
1911 is it's named, it's named. People go out to get pegged. Echo, what's up? I named it Echo.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
Echo
I
and
was
Pagan.
bad
That's the only two I've
there.
named.
But yeah, it should be in better service now. But yeah, like I was saying, the taxes on the import, not the overall cost. So I don't think the prices are going to be just automatically going up 30%. I think it's going to be smaller than that. And the other thing with the tariffs that I do like is it's a consumer tax, which allows you as the consumer more options instead of a income tax or a tax where they're raising our federal income, because at least as a consumer, you get to decide if you want to buy that product or not, or if there's another company that's American made, you can go to that company and not have a price increase. So I like the idea of the tariffs. We don't fully know
But
how
the
it's going to
price-
play out.
The prices
Well,
are
we do.
increased.
No, we do. So here's the thing: you can buy American, but the price is already significantly higher. Like you can go and buy an American-made sweatshirt, you're going to be paying over $100. So they're not. There's no competition there. It's still going to be Chinese goods. It's just more expensive Chinese goods. Also, you're saying, yeah, sure, it's a consumption tax, but we operate our economy based off selling goods. Like this is America. This is pretty much it. Like. I don't really understand. I mean, it's like twofold. People will be buying less. People will be holding on to their money. I don't know if you know this, but being an American under the age of like 45, you can't really buy shit. Like you're not going to own a house, you know? So you just go out and buy cool shit because that's how you stop the depression. And now we're going to be able to do less of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but also you're seeing that he's also trying to pass the big beautiful bill that would, decrease no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. He's talking
Jesus
in
It's not
terms
in there.
about reduce.
It's not.
It's
He's
not in
talking
there.
about
That's absolutely not in there. None of that stuff is in that bill.
So if
You guys
that
have been
does get
duped.
passed, because that's what he's been preaching, if it does get passed, if it does get passed,
will see
if it
no
doesn't,
tax
then
benefit.
I'll admit we've been duped. We were wrong.
It
If
could
it
pass,
does
and
get
when
passed,
nothing
will
is
you
in
admit
there.
that you were wrong?
No, because there's nothing in the bill that gives us any benefit. It gives money to billionaires. It reduces the child the child tax credit to $22,000 instead of $2,500, which is what it was under Biden. It gives away some money to people on Social Security. It does not help me at all.
If that does go through and there is no tax on tips and overtime, if it does go through, will you admit you've been wrong?
Hey man,
Just
let me
like-
ask you
just
seriously.
like
It's
if
not
serious
in the
question.
bill.
Like if it
They're
doesn't, I
not
will
doing
admit.
it.
Can you,
Okay,
can
I
you point
would,
to
but it
one-
has not gone through committee. It has not made it to the bill. If this deal passes, you're still paying tax on tips. Trust me, as someone that operates largely off of tips, I would fucking love that. But it's just not going to happen. It's
Can you-
not in
Lot
the
of
bill.
time.
Can you point to me one congressman that has tried to pass a bill for no tax on tips to put into this big beautiful bill?
I cannot.
Because they don't care. Donald Trump, since he's been in office, hasn't even mentioned no tax on overtime, no tax on tip. Not even talking about it anymore. Nobody's presented bills for it, and the bill they are working on it doesn't have it in there. I don't know why you guys keep thinking it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You've been played, my guy.
If that's the case, then I will fully admit to it, but I still think he's pushing for it.
Cool.
No, he's
Since
not.
when?
The only reason they did it was because they wanted they wanted bonuses tax free for billionaires, for rich people, so they could give themselves money tax free. That's what they're trying to do.
The popular no tax on tips provision right here and overtime pay are both in the big beautiful tax bill. Right here, just look it
Show
up.
us. Show us. Show us. This is introduced right here. I have the bill that you're referring to. It didn't make it out of committee. It's right
I
here.
just Googled-
S-129,
I just Googled-
19th
Nope.
Congress.
I just Googled no tax on tips or overtime, and the AI generated pulls that up. So all I'm saying
Where?
is if that
Where?
does go
Where?
through,
Where?
do I gotta screenshot it for you?
No, I want to know what the source is.
It's right here. Let's see. A big beautiful tax bill contains popular breaks for tips. www.axos.com.
One second.
It is crucial to remember that no such federal law exists as of today. These proposals are still under discussion and evaluation. And so I could easily be wrong, and just as easily you guys could be wrong. And if that does get pushed through and passed, I think everything that he's pushing for, I think we all could agree that it's trying to help American citizens.
No, it's trying to help billionaires. Let's not get this wrong.
Well, there's no There's no convincing. I see a lot of the stuff he's doing is good. You guys see everything he's doing is bad. Only time will tell. Thanks for having me up, guys.
Well,
Hold
it's
on,
not
hold on,
even
hold on. One
time
second
will
before you
tell.
leave. This is the House committee yesterday. It was Mr. Souza. He's a GOP. I'm sorry, he's a House member. He was actually asking about the bill. Just let me play this real quick before we leave.
On people's tips.
Yes, it does, Mr.
Overtime. The president said your overtime will be tax-free. Does this bill continue the payroll tax on overtime?
It does not exempt overtime from the payroll tax.
The president said he's going to remove taxes on Social Security. Does this bill remove taxes on Social Security benefits?
The legislation provides an increased exemption amount.
But does it remove taxes on Social Security benefits as promised by the president?
Does not change.
On tips, the president has said your tips will be 100% yours. Does this tax bill continue the payroll tax on people's tips?
Yes, it does, Mr.
Overtime.
That was just a hearing.
It says that the tax break applies, if there is one, which again, I can't even get good access to it, that it applies to independent contractors. So no. It's not a tax break for most Americans on tips.
Would you be an independent contractor?
Probably not.
Well,
probably not. It is always interesting to me. Let's assume for a second that they get this done, right? That everything that you want to have happen in it. Do you think that this is worth giving a $4.9 trillion tax break to billionaires?
I like the idea of all Americans having less taxes. Yeah. I think everyone. I think corporate tax rates.
Billionaires. So but our national debt is going to go up because billionaires are not paying.
Don't billionaires
$4.5 trillion added to the deficit.
Don't billionaires only pay like 8.2? Don't billionaires only pay like 8.2% tax? And don't
I don't know what the amount is now.
And don't they know how to avoid?
No, they know how to
taxes?
get people. No, they know how to. No, yeah, it's not that they know how to avoid. They create the laws. They write the laws and hand them off to Congress to sign.
Yep. And
so no, they built the
Trump's
laws. It's not that they're taking advantage of it.
Where he's like, yeah, and the reason why we don't pay taxes is because you guys create those laws and you don't want to change them. I mean.
Okay, so he is offering $4.5 trillion, the largest tax break to billionaires in American history.
Corporations or just billionaires?
It's going to affect the 1% in various different ways.
God. Well, I don't agree with
my understanding on this was personal, right? This was personal, right?
What do you mean?
I think this was attached to personal tax for billionaires.
Oh, okay, not
so. Why are they getting tax? Hold on. Why are they getting tax breaks? Why aren't if we want to give away $4.5 trillion in tax breaks? Why are we not giving away $4.5 trillion in tax breaks to the lower and middle class in this country? I have no idea if I would qualify for no tax, by the way. I would love it. But that's not why they're doing it. They're trying to do it to circumvent billionaires having to pay taxes on their bonuses. That's literally what they're doing. It does not apply to all citizens. It does not apply to W-2. It applies to what's considered independent contractors. So, for instance, if you're an Uber driver, you may have no tax on tips. But if you work in a restaurant, you're not a contract employee. You're still paying it on tips. Would it help me? Sure. Would I take the tax break if it meant that billionaires are getting $4.5 trillion? No, I would rather pay the taxes and have the billionaires fucking skirt on taxes and destroy our fucking country.
Every one of them, man. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. They're working on it. They're working on it. Jesus Christ! Didn't you guys learn your lesson the first
It's
time?
gonna be there.
Got a big, beautiful
It's gonna-
infrastructure bill
it's
in
gonna be
2
there.
weeks. Just give
So
me 2 weeks.
So this, by the way, there's two different versions of this bill, right? Because one of them was pushed and did not have any of that in it. And I guess this is a new bill that was just introduced. Is that right? Am I wrong?
Oh, the big beautiful bill that they just did yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was a previous bill that went through, like, I don't know if that went through the House or the Senate. That one did not include this. There was other standalone bills.
This one still needs to make it through Senate, but still. Ah, fuck.
Which, who knows that it will, because they find a way to fucking screw Americans over. I mean, look, we don't have Greenland. Look at Donald Trump hasn't kept a single fucking promise. So there's that. Hello?
Yo. How's it going?
What's up?
You're saying it doesn't apply to W-2. Do you have the bill pulled up?
I do not have the bill pulled up, but that's just literally what Josh played, and that's what I read off of Axios.
Well, what Josh played was correct.
It applies to contract
the guy said-
it applies to contract employees with 1099s.
Well, it includes independent contractors receiving 1099-K, 1099 NEC, or reported by the taxpayer on Form 4317, but it also includes W-2 if you read it. It's on
Then
page
why did
11.
the guy just say it doesn't include W-2?
Because he must have not had it pulled up. It's in section 110101. No tax on tips. It includes W-2. No tax on overtime. I can give you a link if you want, so we can read it together.
I'm looking it up.
There's a link to it on the whitehouse.gov website, the One Big Beautiful Bill. If you scroll to the bottom, there's a PDF, section by section.
What's the number?
If the number of what? The big.
What
if you look
is
up on
the-
whitehouse.gov or sway.
What's the name of the bill?
House.gov. The One Big Beautiful Bill. There's
So
like a
I just want to
section-
point out we're okay with a. I just want to point out we're okay with a higher deficit now. Is that correct?
Well, what do you mean with a higher deficit? We've always been okay with.
We're
having
okay
money
with the
go back
higher.
to the
I'm just
consumer.
asking. The Republicans are okay with the higher deficit now.
Here's a breakdown of it. The Republican tax bill, known as the One Big Beautiful Bill, includes provisions to make tips of overtime tax exempt from federal income tax for 3 years from 2025 to 2028. However, these exemptions do not extend to payroll taxes, such as those under the FICA, which fund Social Security, Medicare. Consequently, workers will not see. Consequently, workers will still see deductions for these taxes in their paychecks. Additionally, the bill offers a $4,000 deduction for seniors and adjusted income below the certain thresholds. It stops short of moving taxes on Social Security benefits entirely, as was suggested during the campaign. Critics argue that these measures fell short of the comprehensive tax relief and promised to working class Americans.
No, so the deduction for the Social Security is for individuals that are completely dependent on Social Security. It's the 100% deduction. It lowers if you exceed 75,000 for single filers and 150,000 if you're married. But it's the senior deduction is still extremely good for. It's a 4,000 per eligible filer.
Yeah, people on disability don't make $150,000 a year.
That's why
Even
why they
if
will
married.
qualify. That's why this is good for them. This is targeted at the people that
With
are.
seniors' adjusted incomes below certain thresholds, it stops short of removing taxes on Social Security benefits entirely.
1 second. Hold on. You missed a part in here, by the way. Seems important. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Let me reread this really quick. One second.
So your claim is it does remove the taxes from Social Security? People who receive Social Security solely are not going to be taxed?
Yeah, if it removes $4,000 per eligible filer with a modified adjusted gross income that does not exceed 75,000 if it's a single filer, or 150,000 for married. It's a senior deduction, yeah. So it essentially like
So it says right here, and I'm trying to figure out the qualifiers of it. Says, furthermore, qualified tips do not include any amount received in the course of specific trade or service business. It's included in IRC. Dollar amount effective. Social Security number is required in order to claim the deduction. The deduction is allowed for tax. Second.
Yeah, I think the major complaint here is the argument was people on Social Security won't be taxed anymore, and this is only providing it from seniors.
okay, your argument 5 minutes ago was that it didn't exist, so it just seems like a bit of a pivot, but
The argument what? Well, it wasn't.
argument
I just
from
want to point
TikTok-
out it wasn't in the original bill. I want to point out it wasn't in the original bill.
This is
So I
the
didn't
bill
know there was
that's
a new
made
bill
it.
that came down.
This bill has cleared.
This was
the
not
committee
the
stage.
original. Right.
Okay,
but
well,
this was
yeah,
not the
I mean,
original bill that was submitted.
I mean, sure. This is the bill in question, though.
Yeah, no, the argument was, so his what he was proposing on his campaign tours hasn't been met, and that was the argument. Now, if they have provisions for senior citizens, I mean, everything else on here is going to be taxed at different levels, even W-4s.
What do you mean
Contract
everything else?
workers.
Okay, hold on, wait,
Contract workers are
because
still
this is
gonna be
important, and
taxed.
I'm trying to figure that this is important. Qualified tips do not include any amount received in the course of a specific trade, specified service trade, or business as defined by IRC 199A. And I'm trying to figure out where it defines. So give me a second, because that is going to be important.
It seems like these taxes are specifically for under the table. Like if they're included within your payroll taxes, they're still gonna tax them. Or, I'm
No,
sorry,
it says in
tips
it.
are included.
If you pull up the bill, it says in order to be considered a qualified tip, the tip must be paid voluntarily, is not subject to negotiation, and it's determined by the payer. The deduction is allowed for
Said
W-2.
qualified tips do not include any amount received in the course of a specified service, trade, or business as defined by IRC 199A, which would be important. Okay, so it literally says right here, for qualified trade or business, this is in 199A. For purpose of this section, in general, the term qualified trade or business means any trade or business other than a specified service, trade, or business, or a trade or business performing services as an employee. 1 second. Which describes applied with engineer employees by the owner.
Oh, you're reading the specified service, trade, or business?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's for people in like law, accounting, consulting, things like that. It's to avoid people that are in higher
I'm reading
paying...
through it right now. No, that's listed later on.
You're saying IRC section 199A-D2? That's what you're referring
Yep.
to? Yeah,
Yep.
that's for people in like higher income jobs. Like if you're a waiter or a hairstylist or stuff like that, you qualify. This is specifically targeted for the lower income
Trade
jobs.
or business of performing services.
Actually, it seems like if any of those tips are included on things such as like credit cards, they're still going to be taxed. It only accounts for cash. The exemptions don't extend to payroll taxes.
1 second. In general, the term qualified trader business means it's too fucking early for this. The term qualified trader business means any trader business other than. So we would be looking for.
It says it includes any
Specify
voluntary
trader
paid tip,
business.
which includes credit card, digital payment apps like Venmo or Square. It's not just cash, bro.
Regard to the
Well,
one
apps like
entry,
Venmo
use
or
credits
Square,
or points.
yeah, but if somebody's paying their bill, like within a restaurant, if somebody's paying their bill and they include the tip on the bill, I think that's where it doesn't there are no exceptions for that.
There are. It's voluntary. It literally says. It letters if you read the provision, it says the qualification of the tip is not limited. It can include anything as long as it's voluntary. There's nothing that says that it's cash only.
However, these exemptions do not extend to payroll taxes. So it says includes provisions to make tips on overtime pay tax exempt from federal tax for 3 years, from 2025 to 2028. However, these exemptions do not extend to payroll taxes, such as those under the FICA, which means if you're paying, if it's paid into the company, they have to pay it back to you on your payroll. Then
Tic-tac,
you're paying Social Security on it.
We're talking no tax on tips. We're talking section 110101. You're talking about section 110102. We're talking about two different sections.
All right, fair enough.
1 second. One second.
Oh, take your time.
Getting tips from tax relief, some business transcripts. One second. Trying to read through this to catch up. Being
rush.
promises. Why target tipped wages? Like only 2.5% of the workforce gets tipped. It's probably higher now, to be honest. I don't know. I'd have to see. I'd have to see what qualifies.
Sure. But it's in Congress now. I think that it got past the what is it? The committee. I think what they're going to be debating on is the
Okay, so it would be only received in individuals' occupations which traditionally and customarily receive tips prior to December 31st, 2024. The Secretary of the Treasury is required to submit a list of occupations within 90 days of the bill going into effect.
Yeah, I mean it's designed to target lower wage, like people that are dependent on tips. They don't want to target like financial services, accounting, law, consulting, things like that.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'd have to read through it. Because my understanding was the original bill did not include it, that it was a separate bill. So.
What was the name of the original bill? I didn't even hear about that one.
I think it was the proposal, but the one that went through, I don't know, maybe like a month and a half ago. My understanding was it wasn't in, so I don't know if it's been amended since or what.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a big bill. It's like 40, how many pages?
Hence the name.
47 pages on this PDF. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it gives away fucking $4.5 trillion. Yeah, it gives away $4.5 trillion to the fucking billionaires. That's
No, it
fucking
doesn't.
crazy.
It expands the child tax credit like Trump did the last time. It's even higher. It expands
No,
refundable tax credits.
it's not
It,
higher. It's
it is.
2,000.
Yeah,
It's
you know Trump
2,000. It's a
expanded it.
$4.5 trillion
Hold on.
or $4.9 trillion giveaway to billionaires. And the tax, by the
Hold on,
way,
hold
that
on, hold
tax
on.
credit is down to $22,000 now from where it
You
was.
realize the first TCJA
It's
doubled.
down.
You realize they doubled child tax credit and earned income tax credit, right?
The child tax credit is down
It's
to
going with
2,000
this
under this
bill.
bill.
This bill brings it to 2,500. It goes up. There's a provision at the beginning. It's section. It's ending in
I'm pretty sure I just
004.
read it.
Here, you
Wasn't
can
it
look.
higher under
Extend-
Biden?
It was temporarily higher under COVID during Biden. Biden increased it by
It's
500.
3,000 under Biden. Child
Yeah,
tax
it was.
credit was 3,600 under Biden.
It was It was 1,000. Then Trump doubled it to 2,000. Then Biden put a temporary
No, what?
3,600.
Wait,
The first
hold on.
TCG
The child tax credit was always 2,000.
No, that was Trump. That was TCJA 1.
No, that's been 2,000 forever. Am I wrong? Josh,
No.
you have kids. I'm pretty sure it's been 2,000 forever.
Pre 2017.
What do you mean he doubled it? Yes.
Pre 2017, it was at 1,000. TCJA, the first one. This is why it's just. I mean, you guys just spew propaganda. Like, he literally, the first TCJA included so much refundable tax credits for the bottom classes.
I thought it was always 2,000.
It was 1,500 for the longest time. It was 1,000 per qualifying child under the age of 17.
Yeah, so Trump increased it. Now he's increasing it even more.
So, wait, he's
For the
decreasing
bottom-
it, right?
He's increasing it to 2,500 with this bill.
What was it under Biden?
Under Biden, it was 2,000 until COVID. He expanded it temporarily, but then it expired. And
He took over under
went-
COVID.
Biden expanded it in like 2022. It was just a temporary expansion, though. It was part of the benefits package of COVID. 2021.
So it was higher under Biden, so it's going down.
No, it went down under Biden. The provision was temporary under Biden.
It didn't
was
go-
just a COVID. It was a COVID emergency. It was set to expire after a year. It did go back down under Biden to what it.
Child tax
To what
credit.
Trump-
Hold on.
The CTC was temporarily expanded under Biden, but it was a temporary. Like
So he
was
allowed
set
it to be
expire.
taken out. Okay, so he went from okay. Because I remember
went
they
back.
allowed you to take out it was 3,600, but that you could take it out early, right?
Yeah, during COVID, they did all sorts of. It wasn't just that. It was expanded unemployment benefits. It was a ton of stuff.
1 second. One second. I'm looking this up right now. Right here, just to point this out. 4 point. I have to go here in a second. I have to get my son. Can take out in a minute here. If you guys want to support the channel, there's a Venmo, Cash App in the bio. Right here. Right here. Cuts and Jobs Act, TCJA, would decrease federal tax revenue by 4.5 trillion from 2025 to 2034.
According to what?
Well, this one is from the taxfoundation.org, but there's also other ones as well. You can look it up. So they throw us a bone, give the billionaires all the money, and then you're like, whoa, good job. And by the way, this is inflationary. I just want to point this out. You guys said you hated inflation. This is inflationary.
Explain how it's inflationary.
What?
How is it inflationary?
Tax cuts are always inflationary. Tax cuts are always inflationary.
Explain it.
What do you mean how? Yes,
How are
tax
they-
cuts.
what-
You're adding more money into the economy than otherwise would be there.
You're not
Yes,
adding more
tax
money.
cuts are inflationary.
How do
They're
tax
inherently
cuts add them?
inflation. Yes, you are.
Tax cuts don't increase M2. No, you're just literally lying. You're just making shit
Tax
up.
cuts. I can literally pull it up for you right now. Okay, that's fine. I'll pull it up.
Pull it up. It's a total farce. Like, I'll be happy to prove it. Tax cuts don't add money to the money supply.
Right
That's done by the
here,
Federal Reserve
American
System.
Economic Association. The answer is yes for personal income taxes, but no for corporate income taxes. Oops. Whoops.
The answer is yes to what? What are you talking about?
That then causes inflation. I didn't know I had to sit here and argue about this. Pretty.
Dude, you don't
you know.
understand what inflation means. What's the definition of monetary inflation?
Inflation is more money chasing fewer goods.
How is M2 being increased?
He's like, fuck,
Please
that's
explain
right.
to me.
Hold on a second. Right here, here's cap. Congressional Republican tax proposals will push inflation rates even higher. Inflation and interest rates even higher. This April 15th, 2024. How many more sources do you want me to show you?
You haven't
Mr.
shown me a
Center for
single
Budget
source. You have no idea what
Policy.
you're talking about. Who controls monetary policy in this country?
I just told you right here.
It's the Federal
The
Reserve
Fed.
System.
I just told you this right here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
American
the president
Economic
doesn't control the money
Association,
supply.
right here. What are you arguing about me? I'm trying to give you sources. You said they're not. You said that tax cuts aren't
Okay,
inflationary.
sure.
Cool. Center
Give me
for
a
American
source.
Progress. Awesome. Cool. American Economic Association. Do tax increases tame inflation? There you go. There's one peer-reviewed study for you. I didn't know that this was going to be a fucking argument. I thought this was pretty
Of
standard.
course it's an argument. It just goes against all monetary theory. I mean, you're just making shit up.
Where?
Dude,
Where? I'm not
tax
making
cuts-
anything up. This is
How do
pretty
tax cuts
commonly.
increase
This is pretty
inflation?
commonly talked about. This
So
is
wait, you're
because
saying
there's
that if
more
the
money
government
chasing
doesn't
fewer
take-
goods.
You're saying your argument is unless the government takes my money, inflation's gonna go up. That's your argument. Seriously? That's for people
no,
that it sounds.
you're misconstruing. You're misconstruing. So
Well, that's
it
why I'm
is
asking for an
inherently
explanation.
inflationary,
What's
but
the mechanic
yes.
of it?
So right. So there's more money chasing fewer goods, which would be what?
What do you mean? Which would be what? How is there more money chasing fewer goods?
Which would be inflationary. I
so
can
you're
pull it
saying-
up for you right now too. Hold on, because I saw this the other day, by the way. Right here. I saw a study about the TCJA actually caused inflation.
This should be good. This is a good meme.
Memes are funny to you, right?
Yeah, when it's absolute garbage, yeah, it's pretty funny. When it's people that have no idea how inflation
I mean,
works.
you can. I didn't know that. I didn't know that this had to be like, you know.
Your argument
Right
is
here.
that putting money in people's pockets is inflationary. You know how to like.
It is inherently inflationary, and it's funny
It
to me because
depends
you're a
how the
Trump
money-
supporter. I heard
It
Trump
depends how the
supporters.
money-
But hold on, I heard Trump supporters. Hold on, wait. Trump supporters said that because we printed money, inflation happened, which
That's
is true in
literally the
part.
definition
They
of
blame
inflation.
Biden for inflation. What?
I think the Biden thing is overstated. I don't think it's Biden's fault. It's the Federal Reserve System. They increase the
So
money
you're a
supply by.
libertarian. Awesome, cool.
No, I'm
He's
not
a
a libertarian. I'm
libertarian.
just I can just read common sense numbers. They increased the money supply by 40% during COVID.
Common sense number. Yeah, common sense isn't how we study things.
You can look at all the studies. This has been studied in depth. You can look at the changes of M2. You can pull it up right now. We can go through it together. The M2 money supply was increased by 40% during COVID. They added $6 trillion into the money supply. That causes inflation. Giving money back to people in tax cuts does not cause inflation. That's like such a crazy.
Giving money.
That's a
Wait, hold
crazy
on. So
thing to
giving
say.
money in giving money to people causes inflation, but not giving money to people in a certain way does it.
Adding money to the money supply, adding money to M2 causes monetary inflation. It's the definition. It's definitionally, that's the definition of monetary inflation. If you Google monetary inflation, you'll understand.
So you're saying that, hold on, wait, so what would be the quantifiable difference between money in the money supply and money in the money supply?
Money in people's pocket is money that's already existing. They're not
It's not
adding.
in people's pocket because they have a
Dude,
propensity to
here's a
spend.
comparison. If I give you $10 million right now, like if I whatever, like I just go to your house and give you $10 million, does inflation increase? No, because there was
If you
no
just
change in the
hand
money
me
supply.
$10 million, right? But we're not
Yeah.
handing one person $10 million. We're handing America back money to go spend, which
Yeah,
is
if I- if
fine.
I-
Here's
if
the
I-
thing.
let's say
It's
I-
fine.
I'm a
Listen, it's
billionaire.
fine that it, listen, it's fine that it causes inflation. What's not fine is that we don't mitigate that inflation.
It doesn't cause
That's
inflation.
the problem. Is that we allow people to
gave
continue
everyone in
to
this
get the
chat-
same. Okay, so wait, hold on. Okay, cool. So wait, really quick. I just want to ask this really quick. So does raising the minimum wage, is that problematic for inflation?
That's a different type of inflation called cost push inflation.
That's
What
not a
you're doing
different
is-
topic. That's not a
That's
not
it
a
is
different topic. Does it cause inflation? Does it cause
causes-
inflation?
It causes cost push inflation.
So how does it cause inflation though? So how does putting money into those same people's pocket through tax breaks not cause inflation, but giving them money through their paycheck does?
Because this is the difference between cost push inflation and monetary inflation. Monetary inflation is a devaluing of the currency because there's more currency units in the system. That's what M2 money supply is.
There
when
would
you
still be
create-
more
when you-
currency in the system. It's just
under
depending on
what,
who's
under
getting
tax
that
cuts?
currency.
No, there wasn't. It doesn't change M2.
Because if you
It's the
hand
same
out,
amount of-
because if you raise the minimum wage, then that money's coming out of billionaires' bank accounts and it's going back to the working class.
No, it isn't.
So
The
where's the
working class is paying
quantifiable
more.
difference? Instead of going,
What-
it's going. You're saying it's going to the government is different insofar than going to just from into workers' pockets. You're saying in workers' pockets, here you go, here's money, and now you're saying one causes inflation and one doesn't.
It's a false equivalency, and I can explain why.
It's
When
not
you-
a false
when you-
equivalency. It's an it's an apt equivalency.
No.
You're taking money from the federal government or you're taking money from billionaires. Either way, it's ending
The
right
federal
back into the
government doesn't
pocket of the
have
people.
money.
So how does each of those, hold on. So how does one of those cause inflation, one of those doesn't?
If you change the money supply, you're causing monetary inflation. If you
You're not changing the money supply. You're just you're
Yes,
not
what
changing the
you're
money
arguing-
supply. You're just changing where the money's going. You're literally just changing where the money's coming from. In one instance, it's coming from the federal government. In other instances, it's coming from billionaires. Regardless, it still goes into that VAT or that it still goes into a specific area where it's removed largely from the market.
What you're arguing for is price controls. You're arguing for price controls in the form of wage controls. You're saying that
I'm
if you set
simply
an
asking you why one causes inflation, because there is evidence that shows, by the way, that it doesn't cause inflation to raise the minimum wage, at least not to the degree that you guys put up there. There is that. So it's actually it's weird that you're literally arguing inverse to what the fucking data shows.
Show me
That's
the data.
fucking
What
crazy.
data are you talking about? I've looked at this data. You're absolutely
The
wrong.
data
There's
indicates.
There's a reason why the
I'm
highest
not
poverty.
absolutely wrong. The
You
data
realize
does
the
not
highest
show.
poverty areas in the country have the highest have some of the highest wages. California, with its $20 minimum wage, just has a higher price on everything. If you increase
What does that have to do? What is that? So you don't understand wealth, income, inequality?
I understand.
You don't
it
understand. We're not
completely.
talking about like
That's-
right. We're not talking. What are you talking about? They have some of the highest. I don't understand what that even fucking means. They have some of the highest wages because the cost of living there is significantly higher. It's
No,
not
no,
the
no.
opposite.
You have it
The cost of
backwards.
living
The
goes
cost
up.
the cost of living
You have
goes
money
up.
moved. You have money. You have money moving into an area. You have lots of money. There is a lot of money. When you're talking about, for instance, the county I live in, King County, you're talking about a county that has more wealth than the entire Pacific Northwest combined. Yes, prices are going to be higher.
No, that doesn't automatically increase prices. Prices are set by the floor, which is set by minimum wages. When you distort wages, all you're doing is causing cost push inflation. That's my point. You're just creating a
So
distortion.
then why don't
You're-
where
let me just give an example.
the data
like a quick
doesn't show
example.
that. The data doesn't show
does
that.
show-
The
all
data
the data
doesn't show
show
that.
that.
I don't know why you're arguing
you-
with me
if
with
you
it.
increase
No, it
someone's-
doesn't. There's literally studies coming out. Bro, I literally live in a state that was the first to raise the minimum wage. We heard this from everyone. It's going to cause inflation. Guess what? It didn't. There were studies ran by the UW. There's been studies ran by Stanford. It does not raise inflation, period. And we know this because we can go to businesses that actually pay their workers a living wage and they're comparable rates to what these other companies are doing. So I don't want to hear, oh my God, it's going to raise the price of stuff. You guys don't even care about the price of stuff. You support Trump.
course we
You're
care.
totally okay with
Of course
fucking
we care.
inflation. You're totally okay with tariffs going up. That's going to cost you $3,000 a year. You're totally okay with tariffs going up.
Okay.
You're sitting here and telling me one causes inflation, one doesn't, and what you're saying is completely
They're different types
antithetical
of
to
inflation.
the evidence.
Do you agree
I
with me
know,
that they
but
are
nothing
different types
in the
of
evidence supports you. So anyway, I have to go pick up my son. Josh, fucking
All right,
annoying.
man. Have a good day.
I don't even
Safe.
like
We'll see you
what do Josh, really quick before I have to go, what am I supposed to argue with you? You don't believe the evidence. Everything you're saying is antithetical to the evidence and opposite. What are we arguing? When we're looking at like increasing the minimum wage, there's not a lot of evidence that it causes significant inflation. There's not. There is evidence that when you go ahead and do tax breaks, it causes inflation. Right?
Yeah.
Like we all kind of know that. The degree of which, who knows? But we know that it causes inflation. And if you want to argue the severity it causes inflation, that's totally fine. But for you to argue the opposite of what the fucking evidence and then say, well, in this instance, this causes it, in this one, it's different. And just because it's a different name of inflation, a different type, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, Josh, I got to go get my son. So.
All right, man. Be safe. Have a
I
good
know.
day.
Here's my thoughts on this. The economy, the stock market's going to fucking fail. I don't know what to tell you guys. So congratulations. You got Uber drivers to get fucking tax tip free. You gave away billions, and now you motherfuckers are going to suffer. You're going to need every penny of that from the fucking tariffs. All right, I got to go. I will see you guys at 6 p.m. Pacific.